So obviously the chapters are made, and the legions were divided into companies of like 100 soldiers or something, yeah, and then each one's like as a captain.
Yeah.
So all second company of every like Dark Angels or Dark Angels successor chapter are called the Raven Wing. So.
No, you stay standing. I'm learning, bro. You're teaching.
So. Because basically, I wanted this helmet on a class, but I didn't want to have this symbol on it without it meaning something. You know what I mean? Without it being connected. So anyway, I come to find out that, yeah, so these Ravenwing dudes. So I find this Reddit post, right? And this dude goes on this whole fucking explanation of how to make a lore-accurate fucking Ravenwing in the game. So it's like black and gold. You make the helmet, the symbol white. This is you don't actually do the Dark Angel symbol, but this is the Ravenwing symbol on the arm, so it matches the one on the head, as you can see. And then yeah, I just made it, so I did that, and then I did, so this colour on the knee apparently is like a legit thing that they have as well, sort of knee symbol. And then the chest is the Dark Angel's fucking chest piece. And then this pauldron, with the dots on it.
Yeah.
This shit's like, if you ever Google, like, just Google how classic Astartes look, like they properly used to look, they always have these shoulder guards on, and apparently these are called molecular bonding struts, or bonding studs. I'm just going to Google it now and what exactly they are, so it's just like,
what do they do?
Fucking, like, it's like extra armor or some shit. Like they made it was a big upgrade for the Space Marines to do this, but yeah, this was like, I think you earned it by getting like all classes Prestige 1, I think it is. Yeah, that's it. So it's like lore accurate, you know what I mean? It's like so fucking lore accurate. And I'm fucking buzzing with it. It just looks so sick, doesn't it? It's so cool. Especially this fucking power fist as well. I love this shit. Yeah, I'll show you some of the others. Basically, it's just the same scheme for all of them, but some of them just look fucking cool. Look at the bulwark.
Yeah, that shit was so sick. So what legion is that?
It's Dark Angels.
Dark Angels, that's dope.
But it's like second company, yeah. But yeah, look at this fucking.
Oh, dude.
This
the little bullet hold. Oh my god.
Yeah, bro. So this apparently this dude on the Reddit was saying that but you know how if you go on the heraldry screen on the description, I don't know if you remember, it talks about the Dark Angels having like, because they're the first legion, it talks about them having like secrets and shit, like really shameful secrets or some shit, like the whole.
They're the oldest loyalist.
Yeah, and they have like, let me see what it says. It says some shit like. Let me have a look. Yeah. No other Space Marine Brotherhood has served the Emperor for as long as they have. Staunch defenders of mankind, they are merciless in the attack and stubborn in the defence. They are also shrouded in mystery, however, and have secrets so shameful they are kept even from many of their own number.
Damn.
Now I know that they weren't a traitor legion yet when the Horus Heresy happened, but some Dark Angels did betray the Primarch and betray the fucking Legion and, go with Horus and go with Chaos and shit. But anyway, this dude was saying that if they have red robes, these dudes, it means that they were like veterans who have been let in on the secrets that they were talking about then. So yeah, I made the fucking robe red. So it's just like this dude's like a full fucking veteran, bro. He's like knows all the secrets and shit. Yeah, bro, I'll give you a twirl. Look at this shit.
That is so fucking sick, dude.
So fucking sick, man.
I'm gonna hit my pen.
Oh, and it's got a Dark Angel shield as well, bro. So like you can't see it now, but it's got like a fucking Dark Angel shield. I love this dude too, like the Dark Angel's champion. Like just the skin you can't fucking.
I haven't smoked in like 2 weeks.
Bro, I know it's like I'm just yapping and stuff, but honestly, I wish I could just teach you like everything about this fucking lore, man. Everything is so sick, so cool. Like how the legions worked and everything, and like, bro, I literally know all the fucking legions and all the Primarchs and everything. I'm fucking deep in it.
Dude, it was beyond sick, dude. That's like the one that they have where you can select it, right?
What do you mean?
Like that's the one that comes pre-customized. Like you can't change anything.
Yeah. Dark Angels Champion, it's called.
Yeah, that shit is so clean. I really fuck with the Wolf Legion stuff they added. Shit's really cool.
Yeah,
so what's their lore? Like, are they chaos or corrupted?
No, the Space Wolves are legit. So yeah, I'll tell you if you want. So when Horus, betrayed the Emperor, when he fucking did his whole thing, how many was it? Well, 9 legions stayed loyal to the Emperor, right? And that's, you actually see them on this screen here, but that's off the top of my head. So the Dark Angels, the Iron Warriors, I think, or Iron Hands, one of them. Let me have a look. Because there's 2. Iron Hands, yeah. Fucking Space Wolves, the White Scars, Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Salamanders, and the Raven Guard, yeah? Oh, and the Imperial Fists. They're like them, the Imperial Fists. Yeah, they're the yellow ones.
Black Templars, right?
No, so are you on the screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see how above Black Templars it says Second Founding?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that means that you see the line going from them, the Imperial Fist, to them. It means they're a successor chapter of the Imperial Fists.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So are they loyal to the Emperor?
Yeah. So how it works is basically, during the Heresy, there were 18 legions, yeah? There are 20, but 2 of them are kind of like, they just disappeared. No one knows anything. There's basically 18, right? So what happened was, they were called legions, and they were like made up of like hundreds of thousands each. There's so many in each legion, and obviously all ruled by one Primarch. Like Horus was the Primarch of the Lunar Wolves, who ended up becoming the Sons of Horus. They're the ones you follow, in these books on you. So anyway, what happened was after the Heresy, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, the ones this game's based off, the blue ones, he's called Rabute Gilliman, right? And right now, so in this fucking 41st millennium or whatever, the 40k year, he's actually the boss of the Imperium at the moment, because obviously the Emperor's all fucked up and he's basically dead. So Gilliman is the boss of the fucking Imperium right now, and he has been for like a long time, but 10,000 years ago when the Heresy ended, when they find it was like 7 years it lasted, the Civil War. When it ended, Gilliman basically wrote the Codex Astartes, yeah? And the idea was to split up the legions into chapters, which is what every single one of these is that you see on this screen. They're chapters. So the rule is that a chapter can be no more than 1,000 Astartes warriors. And the idea is, they didn't want any one legion wielding that much power again. There's hundreds of thousands of Space Marines. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
They didn't want to concentrate, because that's what allowed the Heresy to happen, innit? Because Horus had his legion, and all he had to do was get a couple of other Primarchs, like his brothers, on side. And each one of them that, if like 3 or 4 of them agreed, that's like millions of fucking Space Marines, isn't it? That they command. So obviously the power was concentrated. So yeah, they just basically was like, right, we're going to split them up into chapters. No more than 1,000 strong each. Just to make sure that no one legion can ever cause such fucking damage to the Imperium again. You know what I mean?
That makes
So
sense.
so what they did was, like, all these, dark angels, blood angels, fucking ultramarines, salamanders, space wolves, they were all an allegiance, so they became the chapter as well, which is what we see here. So obviously 1,000 of them got to stay in the chapter, but then obviously the rest of them got split up into other chapters. So that's where the founding things come from. So where it says Black Templar's second founding, that means they got created from the Imperial Fists when they first got split up. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they're the second founding.
And then from second founding, you have
so everyone else where it says successor chapter, they like the base. I think there's been like 14 foundings basically over the 10,000 years. From 30k when the heresy happened to now the 41st millennium. There's been like at least like 10 separate events, where they create loads of new chapters. And the idea is that, each chapter is descended from the genetic material of one of the original legions. You know what I mean? That's why if you go to this like Ultramarines section, all of these chapters were, they were like made from the Ultramarines at some point. But it does tell you, like the ones on the left, it says second foundings, like the Doom Eagles, the Genesis chapter. If it's second founding, it means they were the first chapters to be made. You know what I mean? When the Legion got split up. So yeah, it's cool. But that's the period I don't know much about. Basically, like I know a lot about like the Heresy period, and then there's this period now that the game's set in and everything else is set in the modern period. But obviously, there's 10,000 years in between, isn't there, where loads of shit's happened. That's the stuff I don't really know much about. I know things like, for example, like at the end of the Heresy, fucking Gilliman died. So the Primarch of the Ultramarines died, and then he's been brought back, like, recently. And now he's, like, the boss of the Imperium.
So that's why, like, when Gilliman shows up on the battlefield and he's listening to Titus, or helping him, they're all like, holy fuck, okay, this guy's legit.
Oh no, that's not even Gilliman, bro. Yeah, no, that's not even Gilliman. That was the chapter master. That's you know about the guy with the fucking guns on his hands, like the big power.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Calgar. So
Calgar, okay.
Yeah. So what they do is, obviously, you have like the Primarch, and then because they're different. The Primarchs are like, as big as a fucking Space Marine is to a human.
Yeah.
A Primarch is as that big to a Space Marine.
Fuck.
Like, they're fucking next level, bro. They're like, they were made directly from the Emperor's DNA, and he used the Chaos and the Warp and everything to create them. And then from their genetic material, he made each Legion. So yeah, it's fucking mad. But so yeah, they have a chapter master, and they're the ones they're the boss of each chapter. But they're directly under the Primarch, basically. So you've got the boss of it, they have the Emperor, and then the Primarchs, they're like the generals of each Legion, and then underneath them you have the Chapter Master.
Okay.
So that's the dude, so that's that Calgar, that's that dude on the battlefield. Obviously right now, Gilliman is like, he's on Terra, bro, he's on Earth, just like running the entire fucking Imperium, bro.
That's crazy.
Actually, I think right now, when this is set, they're on a new crusade. So you remember I told you about, back when the Horus Heresy happened, they were on the Great Crusade. It was going on for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And it was after the Emperor fucking unified Earth, created the Space Marines, and just sent them out into the galaxy to fucking go and find all the other human civilizations, that have been cut off. That's the Great Crusade. Oh, and just kill loads of fucking Xenos as well. So right now they're on another crusade called that Gilliman set off, called the Indomitus Crusade, I think. And I think the idea of that is, at some point over the past 10,000 years, because obviously the main war going on has been with Chaos. Back in the Heresy, it wasn't really known much. Like the Emperor made it so that no one believed in it.
Yeah.
Because that starves them of power, basically. Because the idea is what he did was the Emperor went and made a deal with the Chaos Gods. in order to gain the power to fucking create the Primarchs.
Exactly. And that was what the
And then
whole
he
Horus
fucking
heresy was about. So he found that out.
yes, yeah.
And like it was
So he
some like
fucking
10,000 souls a day, right? To fucking
oh, that's no, bro. Yeah, that's no. So the idea is at the end of the heresy, like basically, there's actually a series of books called Siege of Terror. There's like 8 of them. I need to read it. Obviously, I'm only on like the first 3 at the moment. I've still not read the 3rd one, but there's like 50 books, and at the end of them, the last few are this Siege of Terror. So it ended up being that after this like 7-year long fucking war, they started attacking the solar system and attacking Earth and everything, and like laying siege to Earth. And it ended with the Emperor and Sanguinius, who is the Primarch of the Blood Angels. They went and confronted Horus on his ship,
okay.
and Horus kills Sanguinius, and that's what caused that thing, you know, with the Blood Angels where they get fucked up.
Yeah.
Because he was so psychic and he had such a connection to the Blood Angels that his death like basically affected him, and sometimes they can just start believing that they're Sanguinius and that they're dying, and they just go fucked up. But that's what that is anyway. And then the Emperor kills Horus, just obliterates him.
Fuck.
But in the meantime, I think Horus like wounded the Emperor, and he basically is fucked up. He's dead. Like at the moment, he's on a golden throne. His body is all like decomposed, but his spirit's still alive in the warp somewhere. You know, he's not dead. But yeah, they have to spend like that's that thing. So on the golden throne, and they have to fucking sacrifice like thousands of like or hundreds or something every day of you know psychers, you know people who have a connection to the warp and have like psychic powers and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where that's from. Yeah, they sacrifice like hundreds or thousands a day just to keep the Emperor going, and he's been like that for 10,000 years. Yeah, that's a whole other story too. The fucking Golden Throne. Like no one really knows how they made that. Like that's got alien technology in it and shit. Like it's fucking mad. That's what I mean. Like at this point, it's fucked, bro. Like I've heard that they're literally having trouble keeping the fucking throne going. Like they don't even really know how to do it. They're just getting lucky and getting by on. Do you know what I mean? Like keeping the throne going and replacing parts and shit.
That's insane.
And like every day, literally, we're fighting for survival, bro. Like this isn't like glorious fucking like shit. This is literally every day we step closer to extinction. Like this is just the final death throes of fucking humanity, bro. It's mad.
Fuck.
So yeah, that Indomitus Crusade, what they're doing now, I think the idea was that at some point in that 10,000 years, like, because also the war with Chaos got so bad, at some point this big rift opens, this warp rift has opened, and it's split the galaxy in two. So there's loads of people on the other side of it that's been cut off, you know what I mean, again. So I think this Indomitus Crusade is something to do with that, you know, trying to go back to those people and fucking get that sorted out. So yeah, that's what's going on right now.
So tough.
But it's sick, man. But that's why I love, you know, this setting that these books I've got. I've got the first 4 basically, and apparently the first 3 are a story, a trilogy, opening trilogy, and then every other book is sort of can be set, you know, at different times during the heresy and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this first 3 books sets up the Horus heresy, and then, you know, so obviously I've read the first 2, and I read them back when we got this game, and then I've read them recently, you know, before I moved in this place. And I've got the 3rd book next to me. I've been meaning to start it. But yeah, that's why I love that setting so much, bro, because it's glorious. Like it's fucking. Everyone loves I don't know everyone loves the Imperium now, but it's fucked up now, innit? Like back then, it was real. It was like it wasn't so grim. Do you know what I mean? Like the only reason this is so grim is because of the heresy. You know what I mean? Like in this setting with the Horus heresy, it's like they're in the middle of the crusade. You know, everything's fucking great. Like the first book basically just follows. Like the main character is Garviel Loken. He's the captain of the 10th Company of the Lunar Wolves of Horus's fucking Legion. So you just follow him and follow the Legion on like doing shit, and doing wars and stuff like that. And yeah, there's this guy. The story is that there's a legion called the Word Bearers, and the Primarch. They're actually not in this game. They're one of the 3 original legions that you can't like customize. But the Primarch is called Lorgar, and he already fell to chaos. Like he already, I think when he was like growing up, he already fucking was religious, and he like, started worshipping chaos and the warp. And then he got. I don't know if you know about that. Do you know about the Primarchs? What happened to him? So
No.
basically, what it was the Emperor created the Primarchs, used this deal with the Chaos Gods, and then immediately betrayed them. And what happens is the Chaos Gods, they open like portals. There's actually a bit in the second book where, with some like sorcery shit, some chaos shit, it's part of the plot to convince him. But they take Horus to like not back in time, but in his mind, let him see the facility where the Emperor created the Primarchs. And it's like this room, and there's all these tanks along one side of the room, and each one's just got this like weird energy in it. And he realizes like, shit, this is us. This is like the Emperor creating us. And then he sees what happens, and basically it's like these portals open up above each one, and it's like the Chaos Gods have done it. And they basically suck each fucking tank through it, and they get scattered to different planets across the galaxy. So that was like, yeah. So think of it as like that's in like the year, the 28K, the year 28,000 or that millennium.
Yeah.
Like 28,000 fucking, I don't know, 100 and something, you know what I mean? That kind of year. And then the Emperor uses the genetic. They've gone. The Primarchs have gone. The Emperor creates the Astartes with the help of this woman, using the genetics. And then he has his legions. And then over the course of the Great Crusade, they slowly keep finding each Primarch. You know what I mean? Horus was the first. Yeah, it's cool. Like Horus is the first one they found. I think for like 30 years, he was just him and the Emperor. And then they slowly started finding each one. And I actually found a video. Did you see that video I sent you? It was talking about like the organs that the Space Marines have in their bodies. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw you sent it. I haven't watched it yet, though.
Yeah. So that channel, bro. Honestly, just watch that channel. It's crazy. Like, so I watched the video where they explain every Primarch, and it's cool because each one has their own story. Each one like landed on this planet, a different planet, and was brought up a different way and had a different early start to life and everything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Emperor finds them. So that's why they're all so different, and they're all like, when they get found, and the Emperor gives them their legion. The legion will take, they come in, take over, and the legion will take on, traits from that fucking, you know what I mean? So that was the whole idea of the heresy, yeah, just like some of them just kind of were already predisposed to maybe not, it's more easily to convince them to fucking go against the Emperor, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, yeah, that's what happened. And then in like I say, for like 200 years until the year the early 30,000 millennium, like 30,000 year, the Great Crusade was happening. And then, yeah, these books happened, the Horus Heresy. That goes on for 7 years. And then, yeah, now we're in like...
So what was humanity kind of like before the Emperor and everything like that?
So it's actually, obviously it's like 28,000 years in it of history. So yeah. We're in the year 2000 now, aren't we? So like, there's like 26,000 years. So I think the idea is basically that humanity got crazy advanced, like even more advanced than they are now. It was like a utopian society. We're talking in like the 15th millennium, maybe. I think it is. Like crazy. Like they had technology that even now, bro. Even now, it's like magic to the Imperium. Like if the fucking Martian guys, the Mechanicum, if they find like a hint, that's their whole idea. Their whole thing is just to find the lost technology from back in the day. Because to them, it's like, even to these guys, it's like magic, bro. And they'll think about how advanced these guys are. They have whole planets that are fucking factories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, these dudes. That's how we were proper advanced, and we spread out through the galaxy. We colonized it. And then there was something called the Age of Strife. So warp storms started happening, and it cut us off. Like it cut every civilization off. Like you could no longer use the warp, you know, to travel between the stars. So so like Earth got cut. Basically, Earth was fucked at this point. You know what I mean? It's like Earth is just fucking, you know, just from all the industry and everything, just fucked up. So I think the idea is, yeah, that Earth was cut off from its fucking supply lines. All the other planets were cut off, and yeah, Earth just turned into like a fucking. Yeah, it's called the Age of Strife. It's like 5,000 years or something, where everything was just disconnected. You know what I mean? And then obviously the Emperor was around for all of this, but he was kind of in the background. He kept himself in the background. And then, yeah, at some point in like between 20 and 30k, he decided, right, I'm gonna fucking, you know, fuck this. He just decided he was gonna rise up. So yeah, that's what happened. He like, yeah.
So it really was the Emperor's fault then, because he probably did something with the warp to give him all that power, right?
Yeah, I think
and that's what led to the
like,
Age of Strife.
I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure, but it sounds like it, doesn't it? If warp storms started happening, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like he fucked with the warp to gain power, and they didn't like that shit.
Yeah, maybe. I know he did that. Like I say, I know he definitely did that with the Primarchs. This would have been in like, you know, 28k to create the Primarchs. Like he definitely betrayed the Chaos Gods then. But I think I think he was already just powerful as fuck, but he just kind of, you know, didn't take over fucking humanity, you know, for whatever reason. I don't know. Obviously, it's one of those things where even in the lore, it's very mysterious, you know, what the Emperor is and what he was doing and stuff like that.
Yeah, like, why did he want all that power?
Well, there's theories about that now, and obviously it's heretical to say, but it's like, you know, people say like, oh, the Emperor just used mankind to attain godhood. Like, he doesn't actually care about, because there's 4 Chaos Gods, right? And there were only 3, and one of them actually got recently created, like in the past, you know, sort of 10,000 years. And he could actually be the 5th Chaos God, I think, if he wanted to. Like, if he could actually, he's that powerful. You know what I mean?
Damn.
And I think, yeah, there's all sorts. Like, the Emperor could be legit. The Emperor could just, you know, see it as his responsibility to keep humanity alive, and you know what I mean. Obviously, things changed when the Horus Heresy happened, because obviously now he's just been a fucking spirit, hasn't he? For I don't know what he's doing.
Then maybe he was like, all right, well, I'm part of this race. This race is the best. Let's make sure it survives for all of time. Because I mean, if you think about it, like on a whole scale, like we're no different than the Tyranids. You know, we're living things doing the same thing that they're doing.
Yeah,
same thing for chaos
and everything that we see.
Exactly.
Like
there are no good or bad guys. Like everybody's just fucking awful.
Yeah. Like even back then during the heresy, like in these books, they talk about how, like it's almost it's not religious. Like anyone religious back then, it's bad. It's like there's a whole thing where obviously now he's the God Emperor, isn't he? They worship him as a god. Back then, part of the story is this normal. They have these things called remembrances. So big part of the story is that by the time the books have started, they've started to allow normal humans, like artists, on the ships with the Crusade, with the Legion and everything in the army, in order to, you know, document the Crusade, and because obviously what's the point of doing it if future generations don't remember what happened? You know what I mean? So they have there'll be people who specialise in photography, and then there's ones who specialise in poetry, and then ones who's like documentarists who just take everything down, kind of thing. And they're some of the main characters you follow, as well as the fucking Astartes. And there's this one who a big part of the story is that something happens in the first book on a planet that they're trying to, like a human planet they found and they're taking over. That is definitely the warp. You know the Hellbrutes in this game, the boss. It's like that. Like one of the Space Marines gets turned, and they're fighting Loken. You know the guy you follow. He kills him, and his whole thing then is like, shit. Well, I thought the warp. We get taught that the warp is nothing, and it's just energy, and we just use it to travel and stuff. And then Horus comes in and tells him like, listen, yeah, it's a secret, but like, there's fucking, sorcery exists, and it's like, the warp is this and that. Yeah, it's mad. So part of the story is that this woman sees it, and she gets so traumatized. This like photographer, she gets so fucking traumatized that she starts to like there's this little cult starting where they want to worship the emperor, and it's literally so bad. My whole point is, it's so bad that if anyone got found out that they're part of this cult that wants to worship the emperor, you'd just be killed.
Whoa.
Like, that's how little religion they want. Because the emperor himself says, like, and I think the whole idea is, the emperor's trying to stop people worshipping anything because it feeds into the war. You know what I mean? So the emperor says, like, listen, I don't fucking want worship, I'm not. So the whole idea is they teach secular stuff, they teach science and logic, and, we are, we are fucking, we go out and kill these aliens and stuff, and because we are the, you know what I mean? Like, it's logic.
Like, we're the greatest, like, we're the best species.
Sort of, yeah. And it's just like,
they don't have civilization. They don't have fucking society. They have a hierarchy because they're hive mind. They're fucking insects. They don't have true intellect.
Yeah, at this point, the Tyranids didn't exist. Like, we didn't know about. I think the Tyranids are a new
So what the fuck were we killing then?
Bro, just millions of things. Like, literally, think about how many species there would be.
Yeah.
They're literally just killing all sorts, bro. Like, one of the main ones is, the orcs. Have you heard of the orcs?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a main one.
Aren't orcs just descendants of humans though? They got lost.
No, they're the Votan, so they're like little dwarfs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's part of that thing we're saying, where we all got cut off by the warp storms. And
exactly.
Shit.
Yeah.
So obviously 5,000 years of being on your own and evolution and stuff. Like, obviously a lot of them are very different. A lot of the humans are very different. So that's a big thing. Like, obviously, a big part of one of the first books is they've come to this planet. It's a human planet. They've had to fucking make war upon it. And they're fucking, they're like taking it over. And they go to another planet. They move on, and it's like a planet full of like big spider things. They call them megarachnids.
Whoa.
So yeah, that's another one.
That's sick. I want to fight that.
It's crazy, bro. They're like, yeah, bro. Like, some of this stuff in this book, the way they describe it. This is just the first book as well. It's just like a whole section of it, like a whole third of the book is just dedicated to this campaign on this planet. Like, they drop in. The whole idea is, right, we're done on this planet. So we've heard that the Blood Angels have said that they're having trouble on this other planet, in this other system.
Yeah.
So we're going to go help them. And when they get there, there's also this legion called the Emperor's Children. They're the third legion, and they're one of the legions who were traitors in the end. So you follow a couple of them as well, because basically the idea is they've turned up to sort of heed the distress call, and they drop down onto this planet, and it's just full of like these fucking creatures, and they've got like blades like fucking grafted onto them and everything. Like, they're so fast that they just kill Space Marines, bro. It's crazy. They just cut through them. It's mad. And the whole idea is like these planets, and they've got these things that can control the weather. So they create these massive storms. So there's no communication from the surface. So they've just got all these ships fucking orbiting, and they can't get comms down and everything. Like, it's crazy. Like, most of the drop ships they drop in there just fucking get blown up, because of the storm or whatever. So it's a cool little thing where, it's a cool little thing where you follow the Emperor's Children and they drop on this planet. It's like, fuck, man, what we're gonna do? And then eventually the Sons of Horus, the Lunar Wolves turn up. The people that you follow, because that's what's cool about it. You follow this legion and you learn so much about them. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're following it, and it's so sick, and it makes me love the fucking Space Marines. You know what I mean? You find out what this legion's actually like, what they're actually like back then. Obviously now it's all chapters and stuff. Like, it's different. You know, there's so many. There's like thousands of chapters, and they've all got. You know, you can never really learn much about each one. You know, they've all got like their own thing. But there's so many. It's kind of less meaningful than when there's just like 18 legions. You know what I mean?
So
just
why? So the reason why there's so many chapters is because of the Primarchs, and then before that, was it because of that great separation during like the whole warp? So they all started forming their own legions because they. I mean, like, if that never happened,
so
I guess what I'm asking is, would they all be one legion?
No, so they back then, they didn't exist. So they only made the Space Marines in, like, the year 28. I think it's
and
like
that was after the Emperor
millennium.
took power.
Yeah, so he basically took power, took over Earth.
Used that gene seed and like...
Yeah, he actually created these warriors called Thunder Warriors. That are actually they're similar, they're actually kind of stronger than Space Marines. They're just more unstable. They're kind of like the quick, cobbled together version of the Space Marines, you know what I mean, that he first created. He fucking used them to sort of take over Earth and kill all the warlords and all the tribes and everything. And then he just slaughtered them because he knew that he couldn't control them or anything. He just fucking slaughtered them all. And then built upon that idea to create the fucking Space Marines. And I think how it went was he created this deal with the War Gods, created the Primarchs, and then from their genetic material, he started to create the Space Marines. With this, it's this woman called something Astarte, that's where the name comes from. It's this scientist who helped, he created them with her. She's called something Astarte or something, that's why they're called Astartes. And yeah, so they created the Space Marines, and then, obviously they were already in legions at that point, and then they find the Great Crusades happening, goes on for years and years, and they start to find the Primarchs on different planets. And then every time a Primarch gets found, he goes, right, here's your legion, take it over, do as you see fit, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they're his generals underneath the Emperor, and then they control the legions. But
that's
yeah, bro,
cool.
It's like the way that it's cool. Like, so the reason there's chapters is, remember when the heresy happens, Horus gets killed, everything, the Emperor's all fucked up, the Imperium's just fucked. Like, there's been a massive civil war for fucking years. Everything's fucked, and this is in like the year 30k. This is 10,000 years before this game. And then Guilliman, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, he turns up, takes over, and he decides, right, we're going to split up every legion into chapters of 1,000 each. That's why there's chapters. But that's the second founding. Like I said, that's what I was saying with the Black Templars, for example. They were the first, chapters. But there's been, over the 10,000 years, there's been 14 foundings. You know what I mean? Each founding is creating a whole new bunch of chapters from each legion. You know what I mean? So that's why there's so many at this point. Obviously, the reason there's so many is just the fucking makers of it creating loads of random ones, isn't there? But in the universe, yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's cool.
So what were hold on, so where did the Necrons come from then? Was that created by us?
No, bro, there's a whole other story to them. So the idea is, there was this
so they're
species
older?
millions of years older. Yeah.
Whoa.
So basically millions of years ago, there was this species called the Old Ones, and they were massively advanced, they controlled the galaxy, and they ended up having a war with the Necrons.
Whoa.
And basically there was
the
these
Necrons
other
are AI, right? They're fucking robots.
Yeah, so back then they were I think the story is, that they lived on, they had this genetic thing where they couldn't handle radiation. So on their home world and on every other world they went to, the Necrons, this is back when they were biological. They just got fucked up, they lived harsh, painful lives, you know what I mean?
Whoa.
And I think the story is they asked the Old Ones to help them, and I think they refused or something. So they started to make war, they fucking just went to war against them. And the story of the Necrons is that there was this other species who were like basically gods. They're not gods, but you could look at them as gods. They're just crazy powerful fucking species, like massive fucking creatures. And I think they trick the Necrons basically. So what they do is they convince them to transfer their souls into these metal bodies, like living metal, and that's why they like metal now. But they were tricked, and this species feeds on their souls to gain power. So that's what happened to the Necron basically. So they're now just soulless fucking living metal, beings. Yeah, that's what that was about. And I think using that, I think they ended up defeating the old ones. Oh, and another thing to mention, yeah, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, another thing to mention is during all this time, the old ones created the orcs as soldiers.
Whoa, why? Oh,
Yeah.
for soldiers.
Yeah, and they created the Eldar too. Have you heard about them?
No.
Oh yeah, that's another major faction. They're basically elves, bro. They're like aliens, but they're basically like typical fantasy elves.
Whoa.
They're called the Eldar, and they're crazy powerful too, and they're very powerful, like psychers, fucking psychic shit. So yeah, that's what happened around that time, and then I think the old ones get defeated somehow, and then the Necron, I think, basically just kind of go into hibernation, and the worlds go underground. Do you remember in the story we go underground, don't we? And we find like a Necron. We find loads of shit, don't we? That's similar to like Necron stuff. So yeah, they basically just gone for whatever reason. I think basically they've just said, listen. I think they just said to each other like, yeah, all these species are gonna fucking kill each other, and we don't even have to do anything. We can just go underground and fucking hibernate for millions of years. You know what I mean? Fucking come out when they've all killed each other. That's their thing, and I think that obviously now they're starting to come out. In this 10,000 years, between heresy and now. That's the story with the Necron, yeah.
That's fucked. So it was out of spite.
Pretty much, bro. Yeah, they just tried to like kill these creatures, and they got tricked by another species, and they just lost their souls, basically. Just soulless fucking yeah.
So the old ones are the Necrons.
No, the old ones are like a separate species.
Yeah. So you're talking about the Necrons right there, like they lost their souls.
Sorry, yeah, they like lost their souls to this. They were called the Catan or something. This species that fucking.
Oh, so that's why they're like robots.
Yes, yeah. So they basically got tricked into basically
wasn't it immortality?
Yeah, transfer your souls into these bodies, and you'll be immortal, and you can defeat the old ones.
Yeah, but then they end up just getting controlled.
Yeah, during the process. No, not controlled, but during the process. Basically, the way it goes is they say, as soon as they started the process, the Necrons realised they were tricked, and this other species, they started to just feed on the souls instead. It's just like a trick to be able to, you know what I mean? But obviously, they still got transferred into these fucking metal bodies. And I think using that, they did end up killing the old ones. They did end up winning the war. It's called the War in Heaven. It happened like millions and millions of years ago.
Fuck.
But yeah, that's when.
What was the creature that was feeding on their souls? Was that like a Chaos Lord or some shit? Like
no, I don't think so. I was thinking that myself. Like, let me try and search it. They were crazy. Obviously, they're feeding on souls, so they are crazy fucking creatures. I think they're called the Catan or something.
That's insane, dude. How does a person think of all this shit? This is fucking wild.
I know, it's madness. Yeah, so these fucking... The Catan... Yeah, the Catan, or star gods, are said to be the oldest intelligent beings in existence in the galaxy. It's said they were created at the very beginning of the universe. Incorporeal entities spawned from swirling gases and enormous amounts of energy, and as such are etheric creatures by nature.
What the fuck?
In their natural form, they are vast beings of pure energy who spread themselves over the surface of a star, absorbing its solar energy to feed themselves.
What?
After a time, they learn to use diaphanous wings created from the universe's lines of electromagnetic force to travel to other stars to continue their consumption. And then it says they are able to interact with the physical world thanks to the technology of the Necrontyr, which transferred their consciousnesses into robot bodies that resembled those of the Necrontyr culture's ancient deities, that were made of living metal. The Catan used the hatred of the Necrontyr towards the ancient species called the Old Ones to help them gather more appetizing energy emitted by living beings that they came to crave.
What? So they manipulated both sides pretty much. Or I guess the Necrons to kill the old ones and then just feed off of all of them.
Yeah, so it says here the Catan
what the
hate
fuck
the
happened?
warp.
Okay.
Sorry. The Catan hate the warp and its psychic energies and had the Necrons construct a series of black stone pylons. They're actually in this story, aren't they? Them big pylons.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah, they find one. That guy finds one, doesn't he? He wants to use it against the warp. Yeah. On the worlds of Cadia, they're the fucking the Cadians and the humans of it that we fight with. Anyway, when completed, these constructs were intended to close off the warp from the material universe entirely, utterly destroying any living creatures with a soul, leaving all the life in the galaxy as nourishment for the Catan.
What the fuck?
Catan, yeah, bro. It was the Catan who designed the process of biotransference for the Necrontyr, transferring their protégés' consciousnesses wholesale into undying mechanical bodies similar to their own. And it says, however, the biotransference process also transformed the Necrontyr into the Necrons, soulless beings who have difficulty taking pleasure in anything and who can never truly enjoy their immortality. After the end of the war in heaven against their ancient foes, the Old Ones, the Necrons, led by Silent King Zarek, successfully rebelled against the Catan Star Gods. Those Catan who survived the revolt were broken into fragments known as Catan shards that were more easily contained and imprisoned within arcane Necron devices. Yeah, shit. At present, since the majority of the Necrons begin to awaken from the Great Sleep in the 41st millennium, these Catan shards are deployed when needed as the Necron dynasty's greatest weapons on the battlefield. However, there always exists the possibility that the imprisoned Catan will escape their captors. Then they will wreak a terrible vengeance upon their captors and the innocents alike.
Damn. So why does closing the warp kill everything?
Because the whole idea of the warp is it's created by the souls of living beings. Like, that's where your soul goes when you die.
What the fuck?
And it's fueled by emotions and thoughts of sentient beings, basically. So in the warp, all these like the gods that were created,
we created the warp there without even knowing.
They weren't there. They got created by all the power of the suffering and everything that human. Obviously, loads of other species too, but a big part of it is humans as well. Just when we were just normal species now, obviously.
And that's why they're kind of the seven deadly sins, in their own way, like greed and fucking hate.
Yes, there's three, and one of them is the Lord of Change. That's the guy we're fighting in this game. The fucking
Bird.
All similar to Bird. Yeah, exactly. He's called Zinch, that one, and he's the Lord of Change or something.
The Lord of Change.
There's one called fucking. They say changer of ways a lot in this, don't they? They say the changer of ways, such and such.
Fuck.
And then there's one called Nurgle, which is the fucking plague, all about disease and plague and shit. And then there's another one, I can't remember what the other one is. Oh, the other one's what's he called? It was the Blood God though. Let me have a look. Chaos Gods. Yeah, Khorne, the god of blood, war, and violence. Zinch is the god of magic, change, and scheming. Nurgle, the god of plague, death, and disease. And then there's another one that got created, was Slanesh, the god of pleasure and excess. So that's another crazy story, bro. This is dark as fuck. So, the Eldar, we fought them loads of times too. So the Eldar, these elves, they fucking started to... They had a utopian society, basically. And they started to just engage in, pleasurable things. It's all about pleasure and pleasurable experiences and stuff, enjoying life kind of thing. I think eventually, let me actually see how he was created, because it's a really crazy fucking Slaanesh.
That's why the Emperor didn't want people to start believing in him as like a god, because it would just feed into the warp.
Just feeds, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then all the other little
and
things in the warp would find out.
He's already made an enemy of the warp, hasn't he? So
yeah, so then they would fucking find out.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's Slaanesh, known as the Lord of Excess, the Dark Prince in the Imperium of Man, and She Who Thirsts among the Eldari, the elves, is the chaos god of pleasure, hedonism, pain, excess, perfection, and decadence. So it says Slaanesh is the youngest of the four major chaos gods, having come to full self-awareness.
Yeah, that's the slut god.
Yeah, literally, bro. Only during the 30th millennium. The name Slaanesh is a corruption of the Eldari term Slaneth, meaning ecstasy or pleasure. Let me see where they got fucking created. Yes, Slaanesh was given life by the immorality and hubris of the ancient Eldari Empire. As their empire reached its zenith, the Eldari became lost in their own decadence, for they experienced sensation and emotion to a far greater degree than any other intelligent species in the galaxy. The capabilities of their highly advanced technology meant the Eldari did not need to labour or wage war. Instead, they were able to dedicate their lives to whatever idle pursuits took their fancy. Over several generations, this indolence and hedonism came to rule and pervert their souls. It says eventually the Eldari civilization devolved into little more than pleasure cults dedicated to every act of physical, mental, and spiritual fulfillment. Blood stained the statuary of their plazas as crowds of drug-addled maniacs sated their violent desires in the streets of the Eldari homeworlds. On one particularly depraved night, the debauchery reached a terrible crescendo that tore out the heart of the Empire and left it ravaged beyond recovery. This is such a cool story. The fall of the Eldari in the early 30th millennium was signalled by the birth scream of Slaanesh, a tsunami of emotion and psychic power that heralded the Prince of Pleasure's arrival in chaos. The psychic implosion caused by Slaanesh's birth swallowed hundreds of worlds at the heart of the Eldari Empire, in what is now the Imperium of Man's Segmentum Obscurus. The blast killed billions of Eldari in a single instant, and devoured a great section of the galaxy in the process. Such was its ferocity that it overwhelmed the barrier between the material and the immaterial, forming the massive, permanent warp rift, later named by humanity as the Eye of Terror.
Damn. Damn.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy. It just says, after its birth, Slaanesh slew most of the Eldari and their gods in the Immaterium.
What the fuck? So how many of them are there left now?
Not many, yeah, not many at all. So the story, as far as I know, I don't know much about them yet, but as far as I know, they're split up into two factions, the Dark Eldar, and the fucking Light ones. And the good ones obviously want to, like, they fucking saw the error of their ways and they want to fucking, be better and everything. And bro, these dark ones, it's sort of like, like Hellraiser?
Yeah, they're like that.
Where it's crazy fucking gore and, like, pain is pleasure and all that shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're fucked, bro. So, there's this other channel, right? I think you've seen it, actually. Moist Critical?
Yeah.
Remember he was talking to that British dude about Warhammer? There's like he had a channel, this British guy. I don't know if you remember. Yeah. So that guy is called Looty, and I've been listening to a lot of his videos ever since this game came out. And then obviously at some point, because of this game, Charlie was speaking to him. And bro, yeah, this guy did this video on the Eldar, and it's like, bro, it is fucked.
It's literally hell.
It's the most depraved shit. Like, they take humans and just fucking torture them and, like, inflict the worst pain possible, the worst mutilations and shit. Because it gives them, it's the only thing that gives them pleasure. We're talking, like, turning fucking humans into lampshades and shit, where they're still fucking conscious
Fuck.
and just in fucking pain for eternity, like, and we just feed on that.
How does somebody even
Like,
end
there's
up
a
there?
story.
They
Sorry?
take them?
Yeah, you just take them. Yeah, because they're still at war. It's like so many different factions. Not factions, but obviously so many different parts of humanity out in the galaxy. Sometimes they just meet and fucking start fighting and shit. But yeah, no, there's this guy. You should watch the video. Bro. It's so good. I'll send it to you. Like this, he's telling the story from. I don't know where it's from, but it's his story that's part of the lore, and it's about these two fucking space marines that were trying to get out of this fucking facility, you know. And I remember sitting listening to it, and it's like the most dark fucking shit I've ever heard. Like the description of what the Eldari do. You know what I mean? And like, oh, bro, it's crazy. So just think of them as like, you know, like fucking, you know, fucking what's that film? Event Horizon.
Yeah.
You seen that? You know that fucking thing where like it shows the clip of the previous crew just like having an orgy and fucking mutilating each other and shit.
Yeah.
While they're shagging. It's like that. That's what the Eldar were doing.
Fuck.
You know, when we talk about depraved pleasure and everything. And then it got so bad that it created a new chaos god, the god of fucking excess and pleasure and shit.
Fucking
and obviously
hell.
that chaos god fucking decimated them, and yeah, no, it's fucking mad, man.
So they're gone.
No, they're still, like I say, they're still alive because these fucking, there's like pockets of them, you know what I mean? Like these dark
Yeah.
Eldar still fucking.
Fucking
You know,
hell, dude.
it's
And they have
crazy.
their own space marines?
No, they don't. No. Obviously,
That'd
the
be
chaos
crazy.
gods do. The other chaos gods do, don't they? But
So the god of
Simply
excess has their
because-
own little space marines?
no, I don't think so. I think they just focus. That she just focused on, you know, the Eldar dudes. I think.
Damn, so she just hates the fuck out of them.
Yeah, basically, I think so. Yeah.
Why? Because it's a rival power? Or?
Hates who? What do you mean hates who?
So
the
the god of excess hates the lidar?
No, they just like I don't know.
Like,
to
why
be
does she
honest.
want
It's
to kill
just-
him so bad?
I don't know. To be honest, it just says here like it's just fucked up. It's just an evil fucking god, isn't it? It's just like an evil fucking like creature, isn't it? Like,
The dark little elves though, or what are they called? The dark something?
they're called Eldar.
Elgar.
So
Elgar.
dark Eldar. Yeah.
Eldar.
Eldar. Yeah.
Eldar. Okay, so the dark Eldar. Why does the god of excess not fuck with them?
Let's have a look.
Because I mean, if she's an evil god too, like I don't understand. Like why? What's the beef? It's got to be a rival thing, right?
No, it just says. Let's have a look.
I'm like asking questions that the fucking people that make this shit haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah, it just says like Slanesh was given life by the immorality and hubris of the ancient Eldari Empire. Yeah, so
And then
this
just
thing
killed him?
happened, and it just says, yeah, the fall of the Eldari in the early 30th millennium was signalled by the birth scream of Slanesh, a tsunami of emotion and psychic power that heralded the god's arrival in the realm of chaos, even as it shaped a new dominion within that dimension to serve as its home. The psychic implosion caused by Slanesh's birth swallowed hundreds of worlds in the Eldari Empire.
Fuck.
The blast killed billions of Eldari in a single instant. And
Damn.
devoured a
So she
great
didn't even
section
mean
of
to
the
kill him.
galaxy.
It was just her being born.
Well, no, yeah, there's that, but it also says this. So such was his ferocity that it overwhelmed the barrier between the material and immaterial, forming a massive permanent warp rift called the Eye of Terror. They mentioned that a lot in this game.
What?
So
So they created their own warp because it was so fucked.
Well, like a warp rift, like a portal
Yeah.
into the warp. Like, rampant
What
and
the
hungry, Slanesh devoured the minds and souls of the Eldari, absorbing them into its essence. Across the galaxy, that ancient species was almost wiped out. And then, yeah, it says, after its birth, Slanesh slew most of the Eldari and their gods in the Immaterium, except for the Eldari god of war, Kala Menshi Kane. Kane's psychic energy was instead dispersed into many separate pieces, scattered across the various infinity circuits of the Eldari craft worlds. So yeah, the craft worlds are like moon-sized fucking ships, basically, that the Eldari created.
And then you have the lidar.
Yeah, so this is just bits I've heard, from like these videos I watch and stuff. But yeah, I think there's some that were kind of, repented kind of, and like are good in a way. They just want to kill the dark ones and fucking try and start their civilization again.
Because they know it's just pure evil.
Yeah, because they've been around. Think about it. They've been around they're immortal. I think they've been around for millions of years.
What the fuck?
Species. Because they were created by the old ones, weren't they, during the War in Heaven?
Yeah. What was their purpose to be even created as warriors?
I think so. Yeah. Let's have a look at the old. I've got a little tab open for the old ones. Let's see this. See what it says about that. There's just so much lore, isn't there, bro? This is just scratching the surface too. This is just what I know. It's just the surface, like. Yeah, the old ones were an ancient, technologically and psychically advanced intelligent species of cold-blooded reptilian beings. They established an interstellar empire across the Milky Way tens of millions of Earth years ago. The Old Ones ruled over the Milky Way before the development of most of the other sapient species of the galaxy. The Old Ones may have been the first species to attain self-awareness in the galaxy, and the first species to cross the Sea of Stars. The Old Ones were the original crafters of the Webway. So the Webway is this thing where you can travel between stars without using the warp.
What the fuck?
Which is obviously crazy power.
Yeah, it's light speed. Or fucking just teleportation.
Yeah, it's going through another dimension, like. And maybe the creators of the Eldari and many other intelligent peoples of the galaxy, such as the Slan and Jakero, as well as the Croak. Which also makes the Old Ones the possible ancestral brain boys, that's what they talk like, of the Orcs. The Old Ones were also the creators of the early tree-dwelling primate-like ancestors of humanity on primordial Earth.
What the fuck?
Who eventually rose to self-awareness.
So, who created them, then?
The Old Ones, I don't know, it just says they're the first species
the Old Ones. Who the fuck made the Old Ones?
Yeah. They're just like the first species in the galaxy who were intelligent.
Holy shit.
It says the existence of the Old Ones is known to humanity mainly through Eldari mythology, and the Eldari's long ago war with the Necrons. The Old Ones became embroiled in a great conflict over 60 million years ago with the Catan and their Necron servants, a war that they lost. Remember we were talking about that?
Yeah.
After their defeat, the Old Ones either went extinct or disappeared from their galaxy, their fate unknown.
What the fuck?
So, yeah.
So they're like the actual, real gods of fucking the galaxy. Yeah. They created everything.
War in Heaven. Yeah, before the creation of the Eldari, the Old Ones were at war with the Necrontyr over 60 million years ago. The conflict later remembered by the Eldari as the War in Heaven. One of the few already intelligent species the Old Ones had encountered as they travelled across the galaxy were the humanoid Necrontyr, who at the time were in the midst of a slow, sublight interstellar expansion to distant planets beyond their home system. The lives of the Necrontyr were always short and painful due to the deadly radiation of their homeworld's sun, and their adaptations to it. When the Necrontyr met the Old Ones, they developed a deep, jealous hatred of the reptilian aliens due to their near-immortal lifespans. The Necrontyr are said to have petitioned the Old Ones for the technological source of eternal life, but they refused, engendering an even more terrible rage in them. This resentment led to the first interstellar war ever fought in the galaxy. Possessed of far inferior technology, the Necrontyr's war against the Old Ones to claim the secrets of life everlasting proved futile, and they were forced back to their homeworld. The fury of the Necrontyr cooled over thousands of years of imprisonment by the Old Ones, but they eventually turned their hatred against their jailers upon all of the forms of intelligent life. Yeah. So it says the Necrontyr had studied their star for millions of years. In their quest for a weapon to use against the Old Ones, who had prevented their interstellar expansion, they found the intelligent species of energy beings known as the Catan. Gradually, the Necrontyr managed to communicate with these beings, composed of pure energy, who fed on the energy emitted by stars. But the Catan knew they would never be able to fully comprehend the universe without a material body. So the Necrontyr built the living metal bodies from the alloy they called necrodermis that the Catan are still adorned with. The Catan were soon worshipped by the Necrontyr as their star gods, and their powers and intelligence were far beyond anything the Necrontyr. Right, oh, listen to this, bro. As the Catan became more manifest in their new physical bodies, they began to enjoy certain aspects of material life more, including the infliction of pain, suffering, and slavery, and discovered that the energies given off by corporeal life were far more savoury than the bland emissions that had always, solar emissions that had always been the mainstay of the diet. Damn, yeah. The Catan next provided the Necrontyr with an escape from the curse of their short lives. The Catan offered to transfer the Necrontyr's minds into living metal bodies composed of the necrodermis. The Catan tricked the Necrontyr into transferring their own consciousnesses into robotic bodies.
And then fed off of them, and then fed off of both them and the... Damn, that's fucking... Okay, so...
Oh, this is it. So once the let me just say this, once the Necrontyr had done so, they discovered to their horror that their new bodies erased their psychic impressions in the warp, effectively rendering them as soulless as the Catan themselves.
So what, they had a connection to the warp?
Well, everything does, just having a soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Sentient, you know, yeah.
How would they find out that they weren't connected to it, though?
I don't know, they just realised straight away, I guess, I don't know.
They're like, I can't feel emotion?
Maybe, I think that's what it is, yeah, you're right, yeah. Yeah, it says, the Necrontyr gained the immortality they had so craved, but lost their free will.
But
their minds were dulled, and only a few members of the species, the Necron Lords, retained any independent thought.
That's kind of like a double entendre, though, because if you realize you can't feel emotion, then you're feeling emotion. You know what I mean? Or I guess...
I mean... Just you can feel a lack of emotion, can't you, I guess?
But then, like, why would they be upset about that, you know?
Maybe you can't feel pleasure anymore, like you've been given immortality. Basically, their lives are painful, short, you know, they've tried millions of years to find new planets and sort themselves out, and they finally get immortal metal bodies, only to realise they can't enjoy anything, they can't, you know what I mean, they can't fucking... That's why, isn't it?
What did they look like? Did it say they were, like, reptilian-like?
No, the reptilians were the old ones. So the Necrontyr, let's have a look, let's Google.
What do the Necrons look like?
I think they look similar to, you know, what they look like now, like... Yeah, I'll send you a...
Yeah, send it.
You've seen them now, haven't you, the metal ones?
Mm-hmm.
Ones. There's a cool little, There's a cool little thing on YouTube, isn't there, like some Space Marines fighting one. There you go.
Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah. So it just says here, like, it says obviously there's loads, but I'll just say this. Whether the Necrontyr knew what they would lose by undertaking the transference will never be known. But the process essentially destroyed their people. The Necrontyr gained the immortality they had so craved, but lost their free will. Their minds were dulled, and only a few members of the species, the Necron Lords and Overlords, retained any independent thought. Unfortunately, the side effect of the transference process was that the Necrontyr, calling themselves Necrons, gradually lost the ability to feel any emotions at all and became the soulless mechanical slaves of the Catan, culling the sentient life forms that the Catan now craved as sustenance in the terrible red harvests.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So how did we come across them then? Was it by accident?
Yeah, I think we just started finding planets, and we just found planets where they were fucking hibernating on. Like, it's like in this game, innit? Like, there's a planet where they're mining it, but they found like loads of Necron shit. Like one of those black fucking, you know, black.
So were the Necrons even doing in that meantime? Just inhabiting worlds for
the Necron
whatever?
have been like for millions. No, they've been like hibernating, bro. They've been like just asleep. Like they just put themselves into like a sleep.
Because they were just in that much pain. They're like, fuck it, this is our only way off.
No,
I
think,
yeah, that's what I mean. Is that's why they did it. I think
the idea is they just were gonna like. I think the idea was they were gonna wait people out. They were gonna wait out all the other species in the galaxy, like let them kill each other or die off, and then they'll wake up and be able to take over. I think that's the general gist of it.
Interesting. That's a pretty crazy plan. But then, what's the point of even doing that?
Necrons next game, you never know. I don't know.
That'd be wild. I'd love to be fighting Necrons in like a DLC or the next game.
Oh, cool, man.
Necrons are sick.
Says, with the Necrontyr destroyed and a terrible new cybernetic species called the Necrons born, the Catan began the war against the Old Ones once more with their legions of undying warriors. The cosmic confrontation that would later become known to the Eldari as the War in Heaven. To combat these terrible foes, the Old Ones created new, intelligent warrior species to battle for them, including the Eldari, the Rashan, and the Kanib. According to the later Eldari legend, the paradise the Old Ones had created for their younger races was desecrated by the Catan. During ancient times, the Eldari learnt a great many secrets of the warp from the Old Ones. From this knowledge, the Eldari developed the technologies that ultimately led to their own exploitation and expansion of the webway in later times. So, knowing that the Catan were highly vulnerable to psychic energies, the Old Ones designed their new warrior species to be psychically linked to the Immaterium and able to use its power in destructive ways. Unfortunately, the raw emotions and collective unconscious beliefs of these new sapient species altered the psychically active Immaterium, creating both the entities later worshipped as gods by the Eldari and the demons of chaos.
Okay.
Oh, this is it. Yeah, I forgot that. So, yeah, this is the idea that this war was so bad it killed so many sentient beings that it created the warp in a way. So the introduction of these warlike and psychic species into the galaxy had the side effect of warping the Immaterium. The death, pain, suffering, and destruction unleashed upon the galaxy during the conflict was reflected in the Immaterium, literally changing its nature into that of the current chaotic and intrinsically hostile psychic dimension called the warp. The innocuous entities composed of psychic energy which had naturally existed in the Immaterium before the war were gradually twisted into voracious and hostile predators.
Yeah.
By the time the Old Ones marshalled their forces, there were only 4 Catan still known to be in existence, but much of the organic life in the galaxy had already been extinguished. It just goes on and on, fucking hell.
So,
yeah, madness.
Okay.
What are you saying?
I was trying to remember.
I'm talking a lot, but I do like telling you this stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, I was trying to remember the question I was going to ask you. I cannot fucking remember. Oh, I was going to say this. Obviously, I mean, they have like immortality as long as they're in that robot body, but they don't have like an infinite factory printer, do they? Like a fabricator, so you can still kill them.
You still kill them, yeah. It's just immortality, as in like they'll never sort of age and die. And...
So it's still very much like they're like they can still be wiped out of existence.
Yeah.
They don't have like a backup or something. They're constantly being printed out.
Yeah, let's have a look at this thing. So the alloy is called necrodermis. There's a link to it. It says it's described as living metal. It's a material of unknown origin and chemical or molecular structure that possesses the extraordinary ability to regenerate almost all damage instantaneously, flowing back together as if it were a liquid while closing bullet holes, mending gashes and tears, or even reattaching certain pieces of broken away. Right, so they can fucking heal themselves with it, like, the metal just heals itself. Fuck. I think they can still be killed, like I know we fought the fucking Necrons. So they can probably still be killed by like the Space Marines and shit. But...
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
And so, what is our purpose with even like fighting them? Like, are we trying to get their technology, or?
It's literally just, bro. Like, think of it this way, yeah. We're expanding into the galaxy. There's fucking millions of, probably millions or even thousands or whatever of intelligent species and shit. So we're just fighting a war on like loads of different fronts. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no special war against one fucking thing. It's just
I know, but like, why were we even fighting them?
Because we just fight, and that's the whole thing, innit? Like, even back in the heresy days, it was just I don't know the exact reason, but any Xenos is just any alien. It's just anathema to humanity. You just kill it. You just fucking get rid of it. Kind of thing. They just hate it. Maybe the Emperor has a reason for that. Maybe I don't know. I'm gonna Google it. Why does the Imperium hate? Why does humanity hate aliens? 40k.
It's gotta be like space racism, right?
It's basically that, yeah. So it just says in Warhammer 40k, the Imperium of man's hatred for aliens stems from a long history of hostility and betrayal. For millennia, humanity has been met with aggression and malevolence from many alien species, leading to a pervasive sense of distrust and belief in their inherent threat. This distrust is reinforced by the Imperial Creed, which promotes the idea of humanity's divinely ordained destiny as the sole ruler of the galaxy. Yeah, so it just says during the Age of Strife and the Dark Age of Technology. So the Dark Age of Technology is like when we were really advanced. Obviously, the Imperium now looks back at that. They call it the Dark Age of Technology because they see it as we got too advanced kind of thing. Too reliant on AI and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then the Age of Strife was that time, thousands of years, when the warp cut us all off. So, you know, we're all just individual planets and shit. That's the Age of Strife. But it just says, during the Age of Strife and the Dark Age of Technology, numerous alien species turned on humanity, enslaving them and even preying on them for resources. This trauma fueled the never again policy and a deep-seated fear of aliens.
Fuck.
Yeah. The Emperor of Mankind, while initially seeking to unite humanity, also implemented policies that fostered xenophobia, so yeah, racism against aliens, to ensure a unified and strong Imperium, free from alien influence or external authorities. In a galaxy where many species are openly hostile and chaotic, the Imperium views the elimination of Xenos as a necessary act of survival and a way to maintain the stability of their society.
Fuck. So they're literally just trying to, like, persevere everything.
Yeah, I think right now it's literally just that. Like, it's just persevering, just like, there's so many fucking different species that want to kill us and shit. That we just
war on all fronts.
Every single day it's just fighting for survival. That's what the Imperium is now.
Fuck.
Every human in some way is contributing to the war effort. That's all we do. There's trillions and trillions and trillions of humans. And we're all either just in the army or creating resources for the army. You know, doing administrative shit for the army. That's literally all it is. Right now. It's fucking insane, man.
So would the Mechanicus kind of be like Necrons in a way, but they still have their soul?
I guess so. And I guess the Mechanicum, for whatever reason, they believe that, you know, flesh is weak, that the machine is like... I think what they have is, they have their own god, don't they? They have the Omniscient.
Yeah.
Like the god, like technology. And I think they basically sort of conveniently sort of say that the Emperor is the sort of embodiment of the Omniscient, you know what I mean? So they say, like, that's why they say, oh yeah, we'll follow him, you know what I mean? Obviously the Emperor, the whole thing with the Emperor is just like, he needs the fucking...
He's like, sure, yeah, just worship me too, and it's cool.
Literally, yeah, I think that's literally it. Like, he would fucking kill anyone else who's worshipping shit, but he lets them off because, like, they have all the technology. They create all the technology.
So what's up with the Space Marines, like, saying for the Emperor and, like, kind of worshipping them a little bit?
Yeah,
like, is the Emperor cool with it now?
Well, the Emperor's fucked up, anyway. Like, the Emperor doesn't speak. He's, like, just a dead body.
Yeah.
Being kept alive. Like, I think the idea is that the Emperor is psychically alive, like, he is a spirit, sort of, in the warp.
Yeah.
In a way. Like, he's definitely aware somehow, but he's not running the Imperium. Like I say, Gilliman's running things. I think there's a little story actually where, like, no one's allowed in, basically, in the throne room with the Emperor. And I think there's like a little story that mentioned in one of these videos where, you know, Gilliman is allowed to go in there and meet with the Emperor. And I think whenever he just says, like, whatever he saw in there shocked even him. Like, he came out looking like white as a ghost. And, like, I think it's just, like I said, I think it's just the body's just all decomposed and shit, but the Emperor's still somehow, I don't know.
So what did the Emperor show Gilliman?
I don't know. Like, it's just crazy shit.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, exactly. Gilliman's meeting the Emperor.
So what did he show him, the future or some shit?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That's the thing. The Emperor. That's the thing too. The Emperor can see the future, so there's an idea that he just planned all of this. You know.
Fuck.
Like, he's just planning all of it for some reason. Here's the thing: how did the Emperor speak with Gilliman, and why has he not done this for the past 10 millennia to set the Imperium straight? It says in Dark Imperium. I've heard of that actually. It's one of the main books they say that you should read if you want to get into the 40k universe. In Dark Imperium, it states that Gilliman did speak to the Emperor telepathically, and the Emperor's mind has strengthened to completely new levels. However, he has lost his patience and humanity in the process. Living as a consciousness in a rotten corpse for over 10,000 years would probably do that to you, though. Right, okay.
Interesting.
So it says,
So they
he didn't
just
speak to
spoke...
Gilliman. Sorry, go on. So it says he didn't speak to Gilliman through a psycho. When he entered the room, the Emperor did not have a casual conversation with him. He immediately blasted Gilliman with images of what he foresaw coming and what the Imperium was like now after he'd been in stasis for so long.
Okay, so that was Gilliman showing the Emperor what's going on?
No, the Emperor's showing...
Gilliman the future?
Sort of, yeah, I think so.
Like what's going to happen to the Imperium?
Basically, yeah. Like.
So maybe that's why he stepped back then. Is that like he stepped back because with him interfering, it's changing the future too much. So he's like, all right, for everything to actually.
He just got fucked up by Horus. He just.
Yeah, but that's maybe why he's like.
He got fucked up by Horus, and he was like dying, and he was just dead basically. He was gonna die, and they had to just put him in the golden throne.
Damn. So maybe the future isn't in our favor, and that's what scared Gilliman.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Like the Emperor... Yeah, the Emperor definitely showed him something. He set him to work to do something, you know, to sort humanity out. Yeah. I don't know exactly when, like... I know, like I say, all I know is that in these books, from the Heresy time that I'm reading, this cult is slowly getting more and more big. Like, you find that more people in and around the ship and everything turn out to be followers of this idea that the Emperor's a god, and you know they pray to him and stuff like that. Obviously, you'd have to do it in secret and everything, but I guess it's just that warps and warps and you know grows bigger and grows bigger, and by the time we're at this point, it's just that the Emperor's just God. Everyone just sees it as divine. You know, everyone sees him as divine. I guess he's not around to tell people not to worship him like that, I guess. Because back then he did. There's a story, you know, when that video I was talking about all the Primarchs and shit.
Yeah.
So, you know, Lorgar, the word bearer's Primarch, remember I told you I didn't actually tell you the story, basically. He's the one who tempts Horus. He's the one who creates the plans that fucking make Horus fall to the chaos, you know, it turns him against the Emperor and stuff. Basically, for Horus, the idea is just that these chaos... I think what happens is, in the second book, what happens is Horus gets wounded. And it's all part of a plan, you know, by this Lorgar, this Primarch. And he gets wounded by this blade, who one of his... You know Erebus? Have you heard of Erebus? The guy everyone hates?
I think
all the fans hate. Yeah, so he's the chaplain of the word bearers. He's a space marine, and he like, you know.
Oh yeah, he's in this game, right?
I don't think. No. He's a different guy.
Oh.
But no, so this Erebus dude, the idea is that he basically starts getting in Horus's ear, you know, and fucking turning him against people and shit. But he steals this. At the end of the first book, they find this other human. It's actually, you know, those spider things, the mega arachnids.
Yeah.
During that war, basically, these fucking other humans turn up, and they sort of look slightly different and stuff, you know, because they're just so different. They've been cut off for so long. They've got their own society and everything.
Yeah.
And they turn up and say, "Listen, we had a war against these mega arachnids, and we took away their ability to travel the stars, and we just interred them on this planet. It's a prison planet, basically.
Fuck.
Like, what the fuck are you doing here? Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck are you doing here, killing these things?" Like, the idea is that they basically said, "Listen, what right do we have to fucking kill off a species?" You know what I mean? Like, we defeated them and we put them on this planet. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the book ends with basically what happens is Horus, his legion, you know, Sons of Horus and everything, they go to a planet that are controlled by this. It's called the Interrex or something. This other human society, and they're having a whole like Horus is actually Abaddon. Remember I told you about Abaddon?
Yeah.
He's saying to Horus like, listen, these fuckers, because they've got this alien species who live with them basically. Like they defeated them, and they allow them to come into the society and let them fucking work and stuff. You know what I mean? So Abaddon's
the
going mad.
spiders?
No, not the spiders. There's other species.
Oh, the humans.
The humans have got this other species in their society. Who they defeated and stuff. And they've also told Horus. They said to him, "Listen, we didn't want to destroy this species of spider things, so we put them on this planet." And that's the Imperium. Like, so me and the fucking Abaddon and that are saying to Horus, like, even that is enough to not trust them. Even not wanting to kill the Megarachnids is enough to not trust them. And they go to the planet, they get invited as diplomats and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they see that they've got the Interrex, this human species, have got this other species working with them. Like they've defeated them thousands of years ago, and they allowed them to be integrated into the society as workers. And Abaddon's going crazy, bro. He's like, fucking kill them. Most people in the Legion would have the opinion, like, if you see humans fucking fraternizing with Xenos, right, you just kill them. You can't be trusted. So he's going mad. Fucking Abaddon's like going crazy at Horus, and Horus is basically saying to him, he's saying, "Listen, I've had I've had a change of heart. Like, I don't want to just fucking kill them for no reason. You know what I mean? I want to find out more about them." And then at the end, right at the end of the book, when they're on this planet, they get shown an armory with all this stuff, and this other species that they've got working for them is called the Kinnebrak, right? So these humans, these Interrex, they say, "Oh yeah, this is a Kinnebrak weapon." We obviously took all the weapons off them, and they put them in like museums. And they say, "Oh, there's this Kinnebrak weapon," and it's like sentient metal. It's like a sentient fucking knife sort of thing, and it's weird. And then there's this dinner. Horus is having a dinner with like the leader of the Interrex, and Loken, the Space Marine you follow, he's walking around fucking patrolling and everything, and then all of a sudden everything goes to shit, and the Interrex start fighting him and shooting him and shit, and they're all like, "What the fuck?" So they're fighting him off and they're getting Horus out and everything and retreating, and they're going like, "What happened?" And basically someone stole one of this fucking weapon, from the museum, and these guys think it's that Horus and everyone did it, so they're just like fucking killing him. They think that they're actually corrupted by chaos. They know about chaos, and they think Horus and everyone are kind of corrupted by chaos. And obviously this proves it to them all. They're stealing weapons and stuff. And it turns out basically that Erebus was the one who fucking stole that weapon. And then in the second book, remember, he's from a different legion. He's from the Wordbearers, but he's been sent by Lorgar to do this. And Lorgar's already in communication with the Chaos Gods. He's already worshipping. You know what I mean? So in the second book, Horus it all gets manipulated, and he ends up getting wounded by this knife. It gets placed in this place, and he gets wounded by this thing, and he's going to die basically. And it all, like I say, I will not ruin it or anything, but it's all manipulated by Erebus and everyone, and they get the War Master, they get Horus in this fucking place, this moon called Davin, and these sorcerers, like these people who know about the warp and everything, these humans, do this ritual on him, and it allows him to, like, he's kind of dead, but he's like, his consciousness, Erebus can go in and talk to Horus and everything, and he convinces, he shows him all these things, like actually shows him the future, he shows him this Imperium now, where there's statues to the Emperor and shit, but Horus isn't there, and they're manipulating him, and there's like, Horus basically gets turned against the Emperor, and that's when he sees, the Primarchs and everything getting taken away as kids.
Fuck.
And that's what happens basically, and then he comes out, and he's back, and everything's fine and whatever, and then at the end of the book he basically says, I'm gonna fucking kill the Emperor, and I'm gonna become the new, So as far as Horus is concerned, he just wants to take over the galaxy. He just wants to kill the Emperor, take over,
and change things.
Yeah.
So
and
we're not just
and chaos is
mercilessly
just this,
killing everything.
yeah, and chaos is just this
That's
like
manipulating him.
tool to him. Yeah, it's just a tool to him. To him, he's like, oh well, I can get power from this, and I can kill the emperor. But obviously, he slowly becomes warped and fucking. I don't actually know what ends up happening to him, because at the moment, at the end of the book, he's basically just planned this thing where he's gonna get like the Ultramarines and like people he basically the legions he knows won't come with him. He gets them all onto one planet under the disguise of like, oh, we've got a big war going on, and then he's going to try and kill them all in one like fell swoop.
That's
No,
fucking crazy.
So yeah, so I don't know what happens. Like here, I've read some of this third book, like back when we were first playing this game, but I didn't read too much of it. But there you go. So I'll give you the blurb of this book, the third one. Having made a miraculous recovery from the grievous injuries he suffered on Davin, the War Master Horus now leads the triumphant Imperial forces against the rebel world of Istvan III. An unprecedented alliance between the Sons of Horus, Death Guard, World Eaters, and the Emperor's Children legions seems more than capable of overwhelming the paltry mortal defences. Putting their own concerns aside, Garviel Loken and his loyal kinsmen lead their companies to the surface, only to learn the full horrifying truth, and the legendary war known as the Horus Heresy begins with the most foul act of betrayal imaginable. Yeah. Fucking mad.
So it came from a good place, but just got manipulated, and he's like, "Oh, I'll just use the warp. I use chaos."
Yeah, I don't know if it's even like a good place. Like he's just sort of
just wanted to take over. You just saw the Emperor taking control and was like, "Fuck that."
Yeah, I think
well,
he just.
Why did him seeing
okay
the Primarchs getting taken as kids? Why would that fuck with him?
I think that it's that Erebus is telling him that the Emperor used chaos. He's like a hypocrite. Like the Emperor is telling you all not to. Do you know what I mean? Like I think it's lies, to be honest. But he's just saying like, oh look, the Emperor's using chaos, but why can't you do it? You know what I mean? Like, look at him, he's a hypocrite, and he created you using chaos. Using the warp. And,
he's afraid of you because you could be a rival.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And I think it's a lot more nuanced. Like I say, it's very well written. It's very like, but I think that's the sad thing about it though, because you get connected to Horus. Because for the first book and everything, like you see things from the perspective of Garviel Loken. He's one of the captains of one of the companies of the Legion.
Yeah.
And you see the adoration that they all have for Horus. Like everyone just fucking can't handle being in his presence. Like he's so fucking charismatic. He's so powerful. He's like a demigod. And he's really nice. He's really like, obviously he's very fucking ruthless, and he's very like, he's a crazy general. But he's very like, he just fosters loyalty, and you know what I mean? Like he just inspires loyalty and everything. And he's loyal to the Emperor, and he's the Emperor's favourite son and all this shit. And just to see him slowly, do you know what I mean? Slowly go worse and worse. And,
so in turn, the Emperor kind of made that happen in a way, because somewhere in the warp he was worrying about Horus turning. Because the warp is us, right?
No, not quite. No.
So
he wasn't in the warp at this point. The Emperor was just a dude at this point. Like he's in a body,
Yeah. So the warp, it embodies like all the struggles of humanity, of conscious thinking beings and emotion, and then into becoming its own free will thinking thing.
Well, it's more, so it's like, remember, I didn't know this, but we just read it before I read it out to you. So during the war in heaven, that war 60 million years ago, like
it was so powerful it created it.
That like the warp was already there, but that fucking twisted it. Like just literally most of the life in the galaxy got killed, and just all that suffering, all that death, it twisted the warp into something mean, something fucking nasty, something evil. And
because the bad outweighed the good.
Something hostile, basically. Yeah. So I think the idea now is that if you worship, like emotions and stuff, all plays into the warp. When you die, your soul just turns to energy and goes into the warp.
Oh fuck, that's terrible.
It just fuels it. Because we're all just connected to the warp. We all, you know what I mean? We all have
Yeah,
a
but
soul.
you're the warp, and it's just fucking 4 blood gods or whatever the fuck, just waiting to kill your ass again and again and again.
Yeah, I don't know if you go sentient when you go. I think you are though. I'm not sure. But either way, yeah, something like that. And it's just that the idea of worship and all that, it just fuels these gods. It just fuels them somehow. It just create, you know what I mean? We don't create them, but we like. Well, we can create them. I mean, look at what happened with the Eldari. They just got so bad that they created a new god of the war, didn't they? Like, the fucking depravity was so bad that they created. It just all condensed into a fucking. Cause that's what the gods are. It's just this energy that's condensed into something that's thinking and, you know what I mean, powerful, and evil. Yeah, you know what it is though. I've just remembered what it is that at the start of the story, they've just had a crazy fucking win against the Orcs. It's called the Ulanor campaign. And it was like an insane fucking difficult war against the Orcs, and they fucking took this planet.
Yeah, because that was what the first game was. It was against the Orcs.
Oh yeah, but remember the first game was still set in like the year 40k.
Damn, so like that.
Then.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean Titus is still in that game, isn't he? So Titus is only a couple of 100 years old.
Exactly, so it really shows you how long we were fighting those fuckers for.
Exactly, bro, yeah. So they have this big fucking war against the Orcs. Again, this is just one. Remember, we're following the 63rd Expedition Fleet. The Blood Angels are part of the 140th Expedition Fleet. And they're just. Each Expedition Fleet is like, you know, a few ships, like some Astartes, millions of fucking normal army, all that shit. And they just separate out into the galaxy. Each one is capable of taking over planets and just moving on, and taking over the planet, moving on. Do you know what I mean? So that's how powerful each fleet is. So think about how many are just fighting different fucking aliens, different, like, you know what I mean? And this was just one of them. Like, the Emperor was with them, with Horus, and they had this crazy, glorious fucking battle, this glorious final fucking victory over these Orcs, this particular fucking branch of Orcs or whatever, not the whole Orcs, just this one, like, fucking area. And anyway, it was this crazy. Actually, there's a bit of the book which is insane, where Loken's talking to this remembrancer who wants to, you know, remember his stories and stuff. And he talks about the parade that they did afterwards to say goodbye to the Emperor, because the Emperor basically says, right, I'm going to go back to Earth. He's got like a project he's doing, I don't know what it is, I think it was something to do with the warp, you know. But he goes back to Earth, and it's like, leaves Horus as War Master. He's basically in charge of everybody, second only to the Emperor. So I think the first thing that fosters... Oh yeah, so I'll tell you this, the story that Loken tells her is they go onto this planet, and it says the Mechanicum literally flattened an entire continent, made it flat. And the whole continent was just filled with millions and millions of fucking, like, Astartes, you know, soldiers, fucking war machines, everything. All the Primarchs were there, like, it was this crazy fucking thing. But yeah, they literally leveled a continent, bro, to have a parade on it. That's the level we're talking about, to say goodbye to the Emperor.
Bro, do you know of any, like, really good, like, Warhammer, like, graphic novels, like, comics?
I don't know of any, but I'm sure there's...
I just found one that's called Titan, ran by Dan Abnett.
Bro, Dan Abnett wrote the first of this trilogy. That is the best one so far. He's an amazing writer, bro.
Bro, it's like a massive graphic novel. It's all of them put together in one. It's like $102.
What's it called?
Shit. It's called Titan, bro.
Titan.
I'm gonna read the back of it. All must bow before the almighty God Machine. The entire first series of Titan is now collected together in this superb volume written by Dan Abnett and brilliantly illustrated by Anthony Williams and Andy Lanning. Titan tells the tale of a mighty warlord Titan, Imperius Dicteo, and its crew. When Dicteo's aging Princeps dies in the heat of battle, it falls to Cadet Princeps Erwin Hecate to take control of the towering war machine to save it and its crew from certain destruction. Imperial Titans are ancient, powerful semi-sentinel war machines, and controlling them is no easy task. They lust for war and battle. That's sick as fuck.
Yeah, the Titan. Do you not remember one of these missions? We fucking see a Titan. It's them big, it's them massive robots with fucking cathedrals.
Yeah, but
on
it was like not alive. It was like dead.
Yeah, they're not actually alive. Like, so in these books in number 2, you find like you follow one of the characters you follow is one of those princeps it mentioned, and the idea is he goes into it, and there's like him, another one, and then the commander. They get fucking jacked in, bro, like with like neural implants into the head. Like these wires like go through their eye, like behind their eyes and into the brain, and they just get jacked in to the Titan and pilot it like that, basically. Not permanently. They can come out and everything. But yeah, they jack into this fucking Titan and pilot it, and it's fucking insane. Those sound mad.
Damn.
Like,
so he's the one that wrote like all the Warhammer books.
He did a lot of them, yeah. So he wrote number 1 of this trilogy, but not number 2 and 3. But I know it said, yeah. Let me go look at it. Let's see. Because it says something. I know he said he wrote like Doctor Who and everything. Like he's done loads of shit.
This dude's just a crazy writer.
Well,
Prospero Burns the Horus Heresy, Book 15, Book 7.
Yeah, Prospero Burns, I've heard of that. So Prospero, you know the Thousand Suns? They're the Chaos Marines we fight. That's the Legion.
Before they were corrupted?
Was their planet. That was their planet. Wow. You know, it's interesting actually. You know when I said he has that experience where he's wounded, Horus, and he's getting fucking shown all this stuff through the warp and in his mind?
Yeah.
Magnus, the Primarch of the Thousand Suns, his story is that he is very psychic and he's connected and he's looking into the warp, but obviously the Emperor doesn't want him to. So he is like, him and his legion, they just go to, they're on their own planet, Prospero, practicing sorcery and everything. Not in a bad way, but, you know, they're using the Chaos Warp and everything. And he actually tries to fucking convince Horus, like, he sees what's happening and he tries to convince Horus, like, look, this isn't real, don't fucking believe it. You know what I mean? So it's interesting how he does end up fucking falling to chaos and, you know, like, do you remember in that mission with the Dreadnought, and he says, Sons of Magnus, like, and he says, where's Magnus, where is he? You know, he's one of the Primarchs. But yeah, all I know, bro, is this Dan Abnett wrote book 1. It's called Horus Rising, and I've read the second one, False Gods, and obviously I've got the third one, and I've read some of that. All I know is the Dan Abnett one just reads better. The other ones aren't bad, but the Dan Abnett one, I can just tell this guy's fucking talented. Do you know what I mean?
Bro, this Ravenar 20th anniversary edition looks sick. I think it's about Death Watch, bro.
Oh, yeah,
it's a Death Watch symbol.
Much. So you got to think, this Horus Heresy is 50 odd books, right? This is completely separate. It's its own fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like it's its own product line.
Look
set
at
in the
this.
year 30k, and then you got loads of stuff set in between and shit. Let me tell you this real quick about this.
Look what I just sent you though. That's the Death Watch insignia, right?
Sorry, one second. I'm in the bedroom real quick. Just
trying to see a sample.
About the author thing. So. There you go. Dan Abnett has written over 50 novels, including Anarch, the latest installment in the acclaimed Gaunt's Ghost series. He has also written the Ravenar, there you go, Eisenhorn and Beckwin books, the most recent of which is Pentiment. For the Horus Heresy, he's the author of the Siege of Terror novel Saturnine, as well as Horus Rising, which is this first book, Legion, The Unremembered Empire, Know No Fear, and Prospero Burns, the last two of which were both New York Times bestsellers. He also scripted Macrag's Honor, the first Horus Heresy graphic novel, as well as numerous Black Library audio dramas. Many of his short stories have been collected into the volume Lord of the Dark Millennium. He lives and works in Maidstone, Kent. That's in the south of England, though. But yeah, bro, he's legit. Dan Abnett is legit. I read one of his books, and he is good. Good. Just take a piss real quick and I'll check this thing you sent me.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna read you just the beginning of this. This is fucking sick. It is the 41st millennium, so set in the year 41,000. For more than 100 centuries.
Oh no, the 41st millennium is 40,000.
Oh, okay.
You know how we're in the 21st century?
Yeah.
It's like
okay. So it is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 centuries, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods and the master of a million worlds by the might. His inexhaustible armies, he is a rotting carcass, withering invisibly with power from the dark age of technology. He is the carrion lord of the Imperium, from whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day, so that he may never truly die. Yet even in his deathless state, the Emperor continues his eternal vengeance. Mighty battle fleets cross the demon-infested miasma of the warp, the only route between distant stars. They're waylit by Astromonicon, the physic
the Astro, what's it called? Fucking
Astromonicon? I don't fucking know, dude.
Yeah,
I've never seen this word in my life.
Astro.
It's Astronomica.
Astronomicon.
Astronomicon. That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Just creating words. The psychic manifestation of the Emperor's will. Vast armies give battle in his name on uncounted worlds. Greatest amongst his soldiers are the Adeptus Astartes, the Space Marines, bioengineered space super warriors. Let's go. Their comrades in arms are Legion, the Astra Militarum, and countless planetary defense forces, the ever-vigilant Inquisition, and the tech priests of the Adeptus Mechanicus, to only name a few. But for all their militudes, they are barely enough to hold off the ever-present threat from aliens, heretics, mutants, and worse. To be a man in such times is to be one amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regiment imaginable. These are the tales of those times. Forget the power of technology and science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding. From the grim, dark future, there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter and the laughter of thirsting gods. And then this is how it starts. Introduction. Ravenar, Dan Abnett. As this 20th anniversary edition, blah, blah, blah. This is just him talking about it. Let's just start it. Oh, that's pretty sick. There's like a little war map. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, bro. Is it like a galaxy and it shows like the Eye of Terror and everything in the middle of it?
Yeah, at the top it says Spin Ward.
Yeah.
Spin Ward. Rem Ward. Trailing. Core Ward. Scarius Sector Segmentum Obscurus. That's fucking sick. I'm gonna screenshot this and send it to you.
Yeah, screenshot.
The greatest possession of the Triumph passed under the Spartan Gate, and I marched with it into the atrocity. That ceremonial arc, so splendid and massive, forms a threshold in the course of my life. I stepped across it and was remade, transmuted, from one form to another. Some have said that I was crippled beyond the measure of a man. I do not see it that way. I believe I was liberated. Gideon Ravenar, preface to the Mirror of Smoke. Then, local summertime southern landmass. Zinte Malide 397 M.M41. So that's 40k.
So there you go. Yeah, so it tells you, like, that's the 40,327 or whatever.
Fucking hell. He was sleeping in his habitat when the cries of the indigenous woke him. He sat up fast, sweat streaking down his bare torso. He'd been dreaming about the vents of sleep. Always the drop. The long drop into the bowels of hell. His cognitive trained mind fumbled for a translation. That damned ignit argot. That was a pay heed or of great news, and heed was a formal title he was fast getting used to. The rest, Niskak, that was a verb form. Pars it to throne's sake, finding of a thing. I find he/she/it finds. We find. Great gods of nowhere. He scrambled to his feet, naked, and reached for his body glove, which hung like a thogged lizard skin over the back of his trestled chair. Ambient temp was already high in the 40s, and the habitant's viral pump was struggling to breathe cool air into the unlit prefab. The door flapped, and the habitant drew back, and the awful prickling heat rushed in. Kybin came with it. His long black hair was lank with sweat, and the corners of his eyes and mouth were raw, where he had taken too long to scrape out a Nate fly egg. Get dressed, Zieg, Kybin said. Despite the weeping readiness, his eyes were bright. The little bastards have cracked it. Outside, the shocking heat made him gasp despite himself. The indigenous were thronging around the camp's inhabitants, chattering excitingly and waving their dirty fingers at the sky. Nung, where the fuck is this guy? Nung the Oregon had to drive them back with a lash. Yeah, thank you, fucking hell. Put them in their place. Dirty fingers pointing at the sky. God! Kybin went to get his weapon, slapping flies away from his face. Mullich fastened up his body glove. What the fuck is a body glove? Is that his suit?
So it's like a skin tight bodysuit. Like they all wear it under their armor and shit. But all like humans, basically.
Okay. Just 10 seconds in the open heat, and already his sweat was pouring out inside its rubberish sheath. He set a straw hat on his head. Damn, this dude's kind of a pimp. He's just walking around with like the Under Armour on with a straw hat. Where? He asked. Sight see, the Kybin said. It was only a 10-minute walk from the camp, but every step was an effort. Monologue quickly realized he had left his glare shades back in the tent. Fuck, he forgot his shades. His eyes began to ache and tear up in the intense sunlight. Dude, just don't look at the sun. The day glare seared white against the powdered rock and glinted mercilessly off the shiny ink-black cups and tubes of the fleshy vegetation. The indigenous ran around and ahead of them, urging them along, their scrawny tanned bodies indifferent to the flying heat. Sight see, eh? Monologue panted, and there was I putting money on D. Who would have thought it? Not Nug, said Nug, though, in fairness, there were very few things he had ever thought of all by himself. Through one last glade of stinking black tubers, and they came out into the hard shadows, the pillars formed of a white crystal. Ooh. Pillars rose as high as 30 meters, like the columns of some lost temple. Oh, fuck, that's sick. Boros Diaz had assured him Monologue there were entirely natural geoform. What? The treacherous pathway wound between the pillars all the way down to the cliff face. Their feet, particularly the bare feet of the scampering indigenous, kicked up sheets of white dust from the path. The clouds made Mullich and Kybin cough and spit. Nung appeared untroubled. The Oregon displayed a remarkable resilience to physical discomfort. A night egg infestation had swollen and necrotized the flesh of his face from behind his left ear to his eye line. Holy fuck. And even that didn't seem to bother him. What the fuck? At Sight C, the servitor excavators had dug out a whole section of the grainy white cliff face, and Nugget personally used a flamer to torch away the last of the overhanging growth. A ragged cliff had been exposed into the facing. 2 weeks' worth of backbreaking labor by the indigenous had cleared the cleft of rubble and revealed it. Byington was standing guard by the opening. The shouting from the indigenous grew louder, and Mullich turned to Kybin. This request requires privacy, he said. Kybin nodded. He pulled the bolt pistol from his belt holster and held it up. It had taken them a while to learn, but the indigenous now understood what it did. They fled in terror. Every last one of them, their triumphant whoops turning into hasty yelps. The sight fell silent, but the gurgle of sap, the whistle of insects, the buzzing crackle of the sun, Linta. She walked over to them, mopping perspiration from her brow. Her body glove was set to max chill, and rapidly thawing frost was fuming off her lean figure. That's fucking hot. The doc says we have it. At last, Hyundai, she said. Don't call me that. It makes you sound like a heathen. Lena smiled. We're all heathens, aren't we, Zigmund? After this, Linda, we'll all be gods, he replied, and turned his body sideways to slide in through the narrow cleft. Zigmund, she called out, halting him. What? When are you going to tell us? When are you going to tell us what it is you and Doc are after here, me and Kaiba and the rest we deserve to know? So these guys aren't Space Marines. These are just normal fucking people. Mullich looked into her bright green eyes. They were murder hard. He knew she was right. Purchased loyalty would only stretch so far. Soon he said and wriggled into the cleft. Boreas Diaz was 20 meters inside. In the darkness, he was caked in dust. He was instructing two servitors about painstaking method of excavation. Fan units in the back of the distended necks would, as they blew air to the crevices that Diaz light warned and illuminated. There you are, said Boreas Diaz. What have you found? See for yourself, said Boreas Diaz. He raised his wand beam over the ancient carvings in the semi-exposed wall. I see scratchings and hollows plugged in with dust, said Mullich. Do what I pay you to do. Boreas Diaz sighed. Just 18 months earlier, he had been Magister Tutorio Xenos at the University. We're just gonna say university because that's some fucking retarded ass way to spell it. It's like they're trying to be all like fancy and shit, which I get. University of Thraken, one of the most admired academics in his field. I see certain structures form, he said. They have the corresponding vowel shapes and interrogative functions. Is it a new cock? The fuck? A Nusa? Is it a Nusa? Mullich asked. I believe it is, but I would not dare try to voice any of it, not without further study. Mullich pushed him aside. You're a coward, he declared. Mullich had spent 5 years familiarizing himself with the basic vocavities and palate sounds. He ran his fingers over the bass, relief, and tried a word. It sounded like fuck. It's literally what it's kind of like spelled like. The cranium of the servitor unit next to him burst into a splatter of gore, brain matter, and spinning metal fragments. Fuck. Mullich's mouth began to stream with blood. The other servitor went berserk and started to beat its forehead against the far wall of the chamber. It carried on until its head smashed and came off. Mullich staggered backwards, reaching up. The blood spat out one of his own front teeth. I said it was too dangerous, Boreas Diaz cried out. Mullich grabbed him by the throat. I haven't come so far and suffered so much to throw this away. For frig's sake, Doctor, I lost 18 good men cutting my way through that Cadro just to be here. I think maybe the Tide knew this was forbidden, Boreas Diaz ventured. Mullich punched him in the face, knocking him onto the narrow cave's dusty floor. No, Doctor, my basic tenet is that nothing is forbidden. Oh, what the fuck? Zigmund Mullich has lived his life by this philosophy. Then Zigmund Mullich is damned, whimpered Boreas Diaz. I never said that I wasn't. Mullich said, get on, I need some air. So they're just ignoring what the fuck just happened. That's crazy. Mullich pushed his way back out of the cleft into the appalling sunlight. What the hell happened to you? Langta asked when she saw his mouth. Nothing, Mullich answered. Kaiban and Nug stood nearby, gazing into the forest. Emians joined them. The leathery Imperial Guard vet was cradling his trophy pulse rifle and muttering with the other two in a low voice, "What's the matter?" We might have company, Kaiban said, looking around. He gestured towards the black, fleshy stalks and fronds of the surrounding jungle beyond the pillars. Out there, Mullich followed him. The jester and winced. The world was too bright to look at except through a squint. Nugs can smell it, Nug said. Company? What sort of company? Mullich snapped. Bad company, said Lena, pulling out her snubless. Throne agents. Throne agents, ooh. The doctor needs more time, said Mullich, rouse everyone. We'll deal with this. Kaiben voxed the camp and He Tang joined them quickly. The fur on his muzzle was spiky and dark, and his tongue lulled with heat. When he spoke low Gothic, it sounded like a scavenger snaffling at a marrowbone, but Kaiben had known him long enough to get a gist. Sultan and Exuber are still too sick to calm, Kaiben relayed. The maggots are in Sultan's gut now. He's bleeding out. So noted, Mullich replied. Hinton had brought the drone monitor handset from that camp, and Mullich took it away from him. He started the little screen displayed. None of the Sentry Jones ranged around the camp area and sight zones had triggered at all. Seems like a false alarm, Mullich said, but we'll check them all by hand. Oh shit. Yo.
Hello? Yo, it just said you left the party due to a...
You left the party.
No, that's what I mean. It's like I got a notification that said...
You left the party. You bored of me reading, bro?
Due to a network. You said you left the party due to a network error. Not you, me. Like the PlayStation saying you to me. Yeah, carry on, bro. I'm fucking listening. I'm locked in. You're not streaming still, by the way, you know.
Oh yeah, I know. We've been sitting here talking for 2 hours now.
Nice.
He led them back.
Well, I'm listening. I'm trying to find this passage from this book. Go on.
He led them back up the barking white track between the pillars to the stinking wall of soft blanket vegetation. He longed for his glare goggles. His eyes were aching. The flare bright sun was high in the color of the sky. The mirror skites were turning slow circles to the thermals far overhead. They entered the noxious miasma of the jungle bars of sunlight stabbed down between the glossy black tube forms and puckered cup flowers. The rancid air was seething with night flies and larger bottle green crawlers wreathed within the oozy sap of the cups or dangled from the swollen necroties. There was a scent of gangrene. Ooh, that's fucking disgusting. They spread out, their boots squelching through the smaller, ground-covering tubes bursting some and spilling their fetid juices. Mullich looked up at the canopy, a lattice of white light and black growths, and took his straw hat off to wipe a hand across his dripping scalp. There was a flash, a whoop of superheated air, and the world trembled over it on its end. Mullich found himself lying on his back. Ooh. His face was wet. A dull concussive numbness was in his brain, a raw ache in his right thigh. The canopy above him continued to form a lattice of light and darkness. As he watched, two incandescent bolts of last fire, each shaped like the elongated spearhead the length of an adult human forearm, squealed overhead. He could hear frantic shouting around him, battling, Kaiben yelling, and the throaty boom of a bolt pistol. Fuck, dude, he just got shot, bro. They got ambushed. Then on top of that, the high-pitched zap spit of a pulse rifle on rapid auto. Mullich sat up and was spattered with root sap. There was a bloody hole size of a bottle top through his thigh. Fuck. Mulch thorns and flies were already invading it. Oh God, Emperor, he breathed. He crawled behind a fat, drooping tuber. More last fire whined past. Several bolts punched into foliage, vomiting sprays of sap and chunks of black plant meat. Kaiben was in cover nearby, squeezing off shots with his bolt pistol. Beyond him, Emmings was holstered in the forest with rapid fire from his precarious pulse rifle, or his precious pulse rifle. The Mullich certain knowledge Emmys had killed 45 men, 11 Tau, and 23 Greens, and 5 Eldar. Damn, Eldar! He had accomplished that score with a battered guard issue long last. That's sick as fuck. Ever since he'd picked up the handsome Tau weapon as spoils of combat, he'd been itching to use it. What a beast. Thing was finally making a response to pain like Mullich. The organ had been caught by the first salvo. He was bellowing. Blood bellowing. Blood was squirting out of a scorched hole in his side. Mullich struggled over to Nug's aid, shots thrilling above his head. The organ was in bad shape. A secondary wound, just a glancing injury, had burst open the infested tissue on his cheek. The larval grubs were pouring out down his neck and shoulder. Fuck, dude, this guy's fucked up. Mullet stuck Nug with a one-time use trank blunt from his belt pack. Come on, Nug, he urged. The organ stopped bellowing. He glanced at Mullet with an unreadable expression that might have been gratitude, and then rolled his massive bulk over onto all fours. So arranged, he shuffled over into the ooze as far as the next main tuber growth, and then unshipped the Korsh 50 assault cannon from the scene hide boot on his back. Nug wore these heavy drum magazines from his waist belt the way an ordinary human carried water bottles. So these are Space Marines. That's fucking sick. His fat fingers fumbled to connect the belt feed. Then he had it. The cannon shook into life. Tongues of flash fire dancing like an afterburner. Around the rotating multi-barrels, it roared out like a great blurt of noise, undercut by the metallic grate of its cycling mechanism. Oh, dude, it just... A cascade of spent cases flew into the air and pattered down onto the ooze. The cannon blast stripped away the vegetation before them, pulping into the matted, wet debris of the sticky mist of sap vapor. The last fire ceased abruptly. Go, Mullich ordered. Get to the camp. They all started to run, splashing and tearing through the mulch and undergrowth. Mullich couldn't see Lindsay at all. Emmons was in front. He was the first one to open the glare. Come on, Frig, he shouted, turning back to wave at them. Emmons had snapped sideways, whip cracking his reedy neck. The shockwave traveled down his bony body and twisted it violently. Fuck. Before his feet left the powder white ground, his head began to deform and wrench out of shape, to lose all semblance of Emmons. Then it burst, and Emmons folded like a snap-shut clasp knife. Fuck. He fell sideways into the dust. Mullich glimpsed a lean figure with a bolt pistol, ducked back into cover behind the pillars. Just a glimpse, but Mullich recognized him. That bastard interrogator Thonius. So they'd found him, Thonius, his cronies, and their thrice-damned master. Who the fuck is Thonius? Do you know who that is?
No shit, no clue, man.
Nug trampled clear of the undergrowth and peppered the nearest pillars with his cannon. Stone dust and quartz shrapnel blizzard off of them in a long stripping line. Mullich ran out beside of him and pulled the blood-feckled pulse rifle out of Emmons' still clenched hands. Fuck, dude. Where is he? Lenny's was behind him, and suddenly her snub blast raised. It was that runt freak Thonius, wasn't it? I saw him. Over there, Mullich pointed. Hose it! Lena yelled to Nug and started to run. Nug loved Lenny so much as he could love anything. He obeyed without hesitation, breaking the pillars again and showering the ground with spent casings. The chalky impact spoon wafted up clouds into a cloudless sky. Lenny had disappeared behind the nearest pillars. Mullich started to move again. Kybin and Heldberg emerged from the jungle. The camp! Mullich screamed at them. Nug's with me! Kybin, the Lupin, started to run up the track. Heaton uses backward jointed powerful limbs to leap ahead of the human. Okay, so some of these arguments. Mullich edged down into the pillars. It was hot and quiet again suddenly. The sun glared down almost overhead, and he ignored his pouring sweat and the burning of his skin. He'd lost his straw hat somewhere. Fuck. He moved from shadow to shadow, hugging the scant shade at the base of the pillars. Nug shuffled after him. Abruptly, two figures whirled into view around the side of one of the columns. Lentia and Thonius, somehow they had disarmed one another. Their desperate combat was extraordinary, almost too fast for the eye to follow. Kick, jab, kick, evade, duck, slice, jab. Two perfectly trained killers unleashed. Mullich raised his rifle and tried to draw a bead on Thonius, but Nug knocked his aim aside. Holy shit. Sigma, hit her! He wheezed. It was true, you might. The combatants were a blur of circling bodies and swinging limbs. There was no way to separate them. Mullich ran past them instead, tracing his way down the sunburnt track towards Site C. He quickly left Nuggus behind. Mellich paused beside the last of the pillars, panting and gazed down at the cliff face. In the cleft, there was no sign of life. In fact, there was no sign of anything except the disengaged excavator modules cooking in the sun where the servitors had left them. He took a step forward, something hard and hot pressed against his temple. "Drop the rifle," said a woman's voice. Mullich hesitated. "Drop it, Mullich, or I drop you." Mullich tossed the tiny weapon into the white dust. "Is that you, Caraswole?" he asked. She said, "You better believe it, you freak wipe neeker." What the fuck? She let him turn slightly so the barrel of her lap pistol was in his face. Of all the bastards banned, she had always been his favorite. A dancer acrobat sort, well-muscled, womanly. Her body was tightly packed into a cream skin sleeve, and her red hair pressed down under a hood. She wore glare goggles, her small expressive mouth and wide cheekbones were as attractive as he had remembered. She was not smiling. "I always did think you picked the wrong side, Kara," he said. She spat and banged the nose of his pistol into his throbbing, gap-toothed mouth, so hard it made him whine. "So help me, I'll kill you for what you did on Magicus. So help me, I'll..." She halted and stiffened as if hearing some invisible command. All right, she protested to someone not being there at all, alive. "He's with you, isn't he?" Mullich said. Tell him I'll see him in hell." Damn Nugget finally caught up with his master. He slithered down between the last of the pillars, howling Mullich's name and firing the cannon. Mullich threw himself down at the fusillade of fat cattle shots went over him. He saw Swole leap the other way, turning a desperate handspring into the dust. She cleared the fire zone as far as one of the excavators. Ducked down as rounds spanged off its bodywork. I'm so confused what the fuck is going on. Then she ran, lithe and fast.
Win more stuff, I don't know.
This is the first book. This is literally the first chapter. Mullich wondered if Nugget hit her. He doubted she would still have to be moving if he had. Mullich snatched up the pulse rifle and fired a few bursts after her, splattering tubers and cups. Nug, stay guard here, he instructed. Oh, okay, now it's starting to get good. In the crook's sweltering dark, he met Boris Diaz coming the other way. Back, I heard shooting. Back, Doctor. Boris Diaz retreated into the excavated chamber. The organic parts of the mangled servitors were already beginning to rot. What's happening? Boris Diaz demanded plaintively as Mullich pushed past him, and Mullich, the justice of the Imperium of Man, swaggering with its own self-importance, has come to interfere with us? The Imperium? You mean the Inquisition? Mullich took an expensive Las-Fusil rifle, brushed from Diaz's kit, and began to brush away dust from its frieze. A Las-Fuhr brush. Glazelfur brush? Okay. Glazelfur brush. Okay, that makes sense. This is for like the Las-Fusil type guns, like the energy ones. Yeah. You mean the Inquisition? Shut up, Diaz. O great throne of man, Diaz whimpered and slid down the wall into his backside. So the Inquisition's like trying to hunt him down or something, but for some reason like didn't fucking kill him when he could have. There's so much more. And then this is now. So that's a little bit of backstory 8 years before this current story. Holy shit, that's so much reading. I feel like I gotta like sit there and digest what I just read, and it's like not even the first chapter, bro. It's like the pre shit.
Yeah, bro, it's insane. This lore is so fucking deep, man. It's just
fucking crazy. Hey, look at this map, dude. What is that?
That is... I think that's a map of the galaxy. Oh, it's a sector. It's a sector of the galaxy. Yeah.
That's cool.
Let's see some of these planets, see if I recognise them. Yeah, I don't really know. Not seen this.
4 subsectors of Scaria sector segmentum obscurus, circa 402 M41.
You know what, bro? I think you should fucking get these ones. If you just want to start somewhere, just get the first book of this. You get it for like $6 or something on Amazon. Get Horus Rising. You'll fucking love it.
I think I'm gonna get this fucking graphic novel, dude. Did I send you the? I'm gonna send you the fucking front cover of this, bro.
Yeah.
It looks sick. I want this like in a hardback. Because I like, I don't know, call me retarded, call me a child, whatever. Just graphic novels are sick, bro. I love being able to, like, see the armor, whatnot. Like, it's cool, like, being able to paint a mental picture of it, but I want to see what they're trying to, like, show.
Yeah, same. Like, I find that often when I read a book and I get a mental picture or something, and then I see an illustration,
you're like, oh, that's completely off.
Oh, what I thought was completely different kind of thing. So I do like being shown what it is properly.
Like, look at that fucking front cover, dude. For Titan.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I googled it before. That was fucking crazy. You know what I saw as well?
Sick.
That came out in 2000.
Yeah.
That happened at Roller. I think the first Horus Heresy books, they were like 2006, 2007, and they've just made them every year since.
Yeah, so that's like before the Horus Heresy. Or no, that's the year 40,000,
I mean,
so it's after.
Yeah, he wrote it before. I guess he just wrote the Heresy afterwards, just came up with that. But yeah, no, it's fucking... Just looking at something like a passage of one of these books I can read to you, but I can't find this one. I just wanted to find this one bit where he's telling her about this like fucking celebration after the fucking 1-0 campaign. Yeah, no, there's just so much. Honestly, you should read these. Like, be able to get like all the first 3 for like $20, something like that, I bet. And they're just, well worth it. Definitely have a go.
Okay.
Bro, I'm not gonna believe this. Eddie's just messaged me back.
Oh, yeah?
Had to help my dad impromptu, just finished.
Nice. So is he gonna get on?
So I don't know what that means. I don't know. I just said it. This is a fucking 3 hours ago nearly. I just put Nate wanted me to message you and tell you you're on MK, are you on? And he just replied, yeah, always typing. See what he says. I bet it's gonna be, I'm gonna go to bed. He's not as much of a degenerate as we are. I fucking hate that, bro. I was gonna say, just stop typing. Well, it's on typing for ages, and then it's just come through with an emoji. Yeah, it says he's tired. Gotta take Grams to the dentist. Damn, he's got to take his great grandma to the dentist tomorrow.
Damn.
So I gotta sleep. Dude's getting on tomorrow.
Okay, well, that's fun. We're all gonna be on tomorrow
I'm
anyways.
just asking him. Yeah, I'm just asking him if he is. I don't know. He might say no. He's always busy as fuck, this guy, man. He's always busy. I was having to help with something or the other.
And the owner of this car company wanted to save his cars due to a fire hazard in a shop, but was stopped by police. They forced him to watch all of his cars burn in his shop.
What? Why?
Over there in the UK, dude.
Why?
I don't know. It's just some fucking bullshit. I'll send it to you. I had no idea. There's like very little context. But it shows the full video. They start like pepper spraying him and fucking arrest him.
So I said get on tomorrow, and he's replied to that with, as soon as I finish my workout, dentist 8:30am, then drop her off, and then I'll work out probably like 12pm if I don't take a nap.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
At 12pm your time. Yeah.
That's alright.
So don't worry, it doesn't have to be that early.
12 p.m. or 12 a.m.?
Yeah, 12pm. He's talking about like
Oh shit.
tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I won't even be home until like 6 or 8.
Yeah, I'm sure if he's on that time, he's probably on later on as well.
But
Yeah, that book sounding mad, man. It's talking about like fucking native fucking creatures there and shit.
yeah, raises the bolt gun in the air and they all go. It's fucking awesome.
They finally learned what it does. They've learned what it does now.
Oh man.
It'll fucking blow them up like a fucking, I don't know, like a balloon.
Oh, I need to collect some shit from the data vault. I almost forgot about this. Always forget about this. Or to this day, have you still not played any of the PvP?
Yeah, no. I will though, because actually, I was saying to Lewis and them lot, because we really don't have a game to play other than Rivals if we get on. So it's like, oh, fucking get Space Marine again. Finally the PvP's crossplay, because a couple of them are on PC.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them's on. No one I know is on PS5, like in real life. One's on Xbox, and the rest of them's on fucking PC.
Yeah.
So he said, oh, yeah, I might download it, play some of the PvP and that. So I said, yeah, I'll give it a go then. So I'm definitely up for playing it sometime.
Fuck yeah.
Just
You want to run some of it right now?
No. I'm fucking tired, bro. It's like 7 in the morning, yeah.
Dude, let's just run one game. One game of PvP. It's like 10 minutes. Just to get a feel for it.
I can't be bothered tonight. No,
dude, you get to play as one of the fucking Chaos Marines, bro. You get to play as fucking the Warp.
No, I'm fucking falling asleep, bro. I can't. We'll play some tomorrow.
We for real just hop on Warhammer, talk for 2 hours, and then you're gonna get off.
I don't know. Maybe probably.
Fucking cunt.
What time do you have to go to sleep? It's like 2 a.m., innit?
Hey, I'm looking at the Death Watch armor for this game.
Oh, bro, send me that fucking... Wait, you're gonna send me some Death Watch thing as well?
Yeah, that was the book that I was reading. There's the Death
nice.
Watch insignia on the front. That chest piece is gold on him. On this guy.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you. It's in the game. I'm looking at it.
Oh, in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. What are you looking at?
I sent it through
Oh.
PlayStation.
Oh, there's a Death Watch fucking... Oh, that's Titus is the Death Watch, I think, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Mm.
Or maybe it's just their standard armor. Because Titus had a hood, and he didn't have the... What is that? Is that Blood Angels? No, that's not Blood Angels. It's the right pauldron.
Yeah, that's weird, that, because like I said, I've seen online, I've seen screenshots of them being silver, and I just want to fucking get the accurate one.
Yeah. But then again, this guy is like
Size.
on his arm, he has something that says Xenos on it, like carved in. So it's like
Oh, that is
definitely
Blood
custom.
Angels. Yes, this guy's Blood Angels.
Dude, I want that fucking helmet.
I know, bro, I fucking need it. They said that all that shit will come to the game for everyone else later.
What
like,
are
how
these
much
things
later?
talking about? Do they have one going on right now?
No. So if you see, you know when you fucking, if you go to teleport and it says message of the day next to it, I think
Yeah.
they usually show up there, so you can see them there when they're active. Yeah, let me find it. I'll fucking find it online. It was I'll give you an example of it. Space Marine 2. Mark 8 helmet. Let's have a look. So this was in February. I found a article here. Yeah, it's finally happened, brothers. The Mark 8 errant helmet is up for grabs in Space Marine 2. This is a classic helmet for many players and is the embodiment of how they want their Space Marines to look. Primarily appearing on Death Watch miniatures over the years, you can now get your hands on it in the game.
When did they drop that?
Bro, this was... You didn't have to do anything. It literally just was... Connect your account, you know, that PROS account, Pros account.
Yeah. I have that connected.
Finish an operation successfully with each class at least once. Do this between February 21st and March 3rd if you want to get your hands on the helmet. Fuck.
Dude, I was playing around that time, but I wasn't completing it like every class. The fuck?
Yeah, so you just do... Yeah, so you just use each class once. Just complete a mission once. Each class. So you only have to do 6 missions.
Can't believe I missed that.
I know, man. I wasn't even fucking playing the game at that point. Let me see this shit where see where they said we'll get them. So Space Marine 2 event gear.
So what is a servitor skull then? Is that just somebody's fucking head turned into a servitor then?
Yeah, I actually don't know, you know. Let's have a look. Servitor skull. The servo skull.
Yes,
Yeah, this servo skull is a drone-like robotic device that appears to be a human skull outfitted with electronic or cybernetic compounds. They are fashioned from the skulls of loyal adepts of the Adeptus Terra and other pious imperial servants. This is so they may continue their work for the Emperor even after death. To have one's skull chosen to serve as a servo skull is a great honour in the Imperium. Done.
That's fucked up.
So it just says servo skulls form an important niche in Imperial work, serving as everything from auto-scribes that copy down important conversations to simple moving torches hovering about their charge with candles and electric lanterns to illuminate. Done.
Check this out. So do you know what the cherub is?
Yeah, I don't even know what that. I mean, need to look that up. You know, what the fuck they are. They look flying babies, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. The cherubium are diminutive flying cyborg constructs created to assist the Emperor's servants, be they scribe or soldier. Among the Adeptus Astartes, they are rarely seen outside the Liberatus, save for those few that relay targeting data and carry spare ammunition.
What are you seeing now? Forces of the Imperium.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Cherub, there it is. Yeah. Oh. That's cool. I didn't know they had all that. I thought it was just fucking like, talk about the different Astartes and stuff.
Death Watch is a really long one. This is sick. Death Watch of the Imperium's greatest defense against the depredations of the galaxy's xeno races. They are a chapter of Space Marines unlike any other. Every Death Watch battle brother is a veteran pledged to them by another chapter. Yeah, so it's just telling us like what we kind of already know. So the armor that we're seeing then this is the Mark VII. So that's 7, 8. Yeah. The Mark 8 errant armor was conceived in the wake of the Horus Heresy but never put into mass production and is still rarely seen in the 41st millennium. Some prized suits are kept for officers and the alien-hunted warriors of the Death Watch. The biggest and most distinctive element of the Mark 7 armor is the raised gorget, developed to protect the neck seal on its helmet, whereas bullets were sometimes deflected by the armor's sloped breastplate. The Mark X power armor was developed by the Archmagos Belisarius Call at the same time as the Primaris Space Marines, who wear it, comprising a core exoskeleton that bonds to the Space Marines' black carapace. Mark X power armor can take the form of a number of different armor patterns depending on what type of squad the wearer will be fighting as part of. One of the most commonly seen forms is the Tacticius armor, which is worn by intercessor squads. Fucking hell, I can't talk.
Yeah, so do you know about the Primaris Marines?
Yeah, they're just the Primaris, right? Or Primaris.
That's like a new kind of Space Marine. That's what we're playing as.
Yeah.
Fucking weird.
I mean, I think it's cool.
Make all new ones.
That's pretty cool. We're like the best Space Marines or whatever.
Like, yeah, they made like bigger, fucking 3 more fucking.
Get skin that's like steel, bro.
Like organs put in and shit.
Like, that's sick. You know, like they're literally made for war, bro. Nothing but war.
You know when it mentions that fucking black carapace as well?
Yeah.
Apparently that's like a whole fucking layer under your skin, under the skin, that directly like it makes it so the fucking armor you can feel it like it's just your body. It's like directs like it connects you neurologically like. So yeah, the armor's just like I don't know, just feels like nothing to the Space Marines. It just feels like they're walking around normally and shit. It's mad.
Fuck. An Adeptus Astartes Sergeant. This is Dantarius Varlels. This is the guy that ended up getting blown up by that little Chaos Marine guy. An Adeptus Astartes Sergeant who has served with honor and distinction. Varlels has no interest in boasting about his accomplishments, but is quick to talk up his men to anyone who will listen. On the field of battle, he is no nonsense leader. He is a no nonsense leader, expecting perfection from his squad and leading by example. That's sick. He has executed deserters with his own hand, having no patience for cowardice. He feels the loss of every squad member deeply, but he does not allow this to hold him back or weigh him down. Instead, he uses it as a fuel to press on, feeling that he owes them victory to ensure they did not die in vain. Yeah, that's the dude that fucking died, bro. The Space Marine that we came across in the story, you remember him? Yeah, that.
Nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they blew him up, didn't they? Fucking...
Yeah, like the most pussy way to go out, bro. Like, just blew him up. I would have thought like their armor would be a little bit better than that, you know? Because it's not impenetrable. It's like a melter grenade, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it must have been like a, I don't know, some special one, I don't know.
For Ultramar. Ultramar's the flag, right?
No, Ultramar's like, so all the chapters take like one like their own world, most of them, and that's where they recruit from and shit like that. And the Ultramarines, I think they own like a whole fucking sector. So they just own like a whole sector of the galaxy, like loads of different planets and shit. And I think they call it Ultramar as like a whole thing.
That's sick. Well, do you want to run a mission? Or are you going to go to bed?
Yeah, I'll run a mission. Yeah, let me just finish this food. And then, yeah, I'll give me 2 minutes.
I mean, have you been to sleep yet? Ugh.
No, I'll probably just have a couple of those and then...
Damn.
New day tomorrow. That's the thing, bro. It's it's a hard life playing games with you. But I enjoy it. I've been fucking sleep deprived for like a week. I got healthy when I fucking on my PS5. And then as soon as I moved in here, I fucking staying up like every day and then just having to sleep for like an hour.
I am the warp. I am chaos.
Oh man. Sometimes I just like take a nap, like fucking later on in the day. I'll just take a little nap or some shit. All right, back in a sec. Play a mission.
Hey, no, let's just hop off, bro. Let's hop on tomorrow. This is a pretty cool chat, though.
No,
I'm gonna save this for the stream. I'm gonna upload this.
Yeah, man.
I'm just gonna name it.